Hey, Night. How are you? Why can't I hear you?
How are you?
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm good, dear. How are you?
Good. Are you in the office?
Yeah, we lost power at home, so I had to come down here.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. What happened while you guys lost power?
I think a tree fell on some lines.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, it's good to see you in the office.
There's so many spider webs, it's crazy.
Oh goodness. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna go into the background for a second and get myself together. All right.
Hi, everyone. Okay, let's see. We're just waiting for more people to come on, and it's good to see everyone.
Yo, what's good? Have we started?
Not yet. I'm going to give it till about 6:35, and then we will begin.
Gotcha. Nice to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Hello? Hello?
Hello. We're just waiting to start the meeting until
Oh,
6:35.
who's this?
This is Jessica Elliott.
Oh,
Hey,
hi.
Jada.
Okay. Hi. Who is that?
That was Andrew.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. How many people are on the line now?
It says 33, 34.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just going to give till 6:35, and then we will begin the meeting just to allow for a handful of people to log in. I've just gotten a couple of messages from people saying that they were having difficulties, so just sending some texts. Angel, are you there?
Yep.
Okay, it's 6:35. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please.
Okay.
Give your opening remarks.
Sure. Hello, everybody. It's Angel. There we go. So, as you've been hearing us say this the last few months, until further notice, all meetings of CB11 are being conducted by video conference. Links to register to attend the video conferences for each of our meetings are published on the meetings calendar on our website, cb11m.org. To avoid crosstalk during the meeting and help the meeting run more effectively, panelists and attendees are kindly asked to keep their microphones on mute when they are not speaking. It is also helpful to utilize headphones. Those participating by phone can dial *6 to unmute. If you wish to share a question or comment, you may do so by utilizing the raise hands function. The staff and I will monitor those requests to ensure that hands are recognized in turn. Those participating by phone can dial *9 to raise their hand. Board members will be called on first and then attendees. Please keep your questions or comments brief and on topic. And with that, I'll hand it over to Xavier Santiago, our Vice Chair.
Xavier, you're muted.
Thank you very much. Please, if you could keep your phones muted and your Zoom, so it'll make it easier so there's no crosstalk or background noise. As you all know, Nilsa experienced a death in her family, the loss of her sister. She is not able to attend and share this meeting because of today was the wake and burial. So please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. So I hope you will all work with me together so we can have a very expeditious and productive meeting. And with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we have our pre-registered speakers. They're 3 minutes each. What we recommend is you have 2 minutes to say what you have to say, and then 1 minute for questions. Angel, who do we have registered to speak and who is on?
Sure. So we have Amir Kotbi from the New York Public Library. Mr. Kotbi.
Okay. Amir, like I said, you got a total of 3 minutes, and staff, if you'd be so kind as to chime in when they hit the 2-minute mark so they know. Thank you.
Okay.
Amir?
Okay, I'm not seeing him in the attendees. We could circle back around.
Okay, who's next?
Next on the list is Councilmember Mark Levine.
Okay. Is Mark Levine with us?
I'm not seeing him either. Hold on. Okay, the next name is Martha Wiggins. Okay. Next name is Ugochi Oniyuku. Sorry if I mispronounced that. From Riverside Church.
Yes. Hi, so I'm with Martha, so you don't need to circle back to her.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here, Nagoshi.
Oh, okay, great. Martha, do you want to start?
Yes, I will. First, I want to say thanks for the opportunity to address your meeting this evening, and I want to give a shout out to Carly Wine, who so graciously helped us set up this meeting. And as a former community board member, I want to say that it's good to be back home. We represent the Riverside Church's Riverside Development Committee's Community Assessment and Partnership Subcommittee. As Riverside reflects on its rich 90-year history, we prayerfully seek to envision the next 90 years of our vibrant community. So we ask, how can we remain relevant as we continue Jesus' mission of social justice and ensure that we sustainably remain viable? You are a part of that answer. Community Board 11 is an important stakeholder that is actively working to ensure the quality of our life in our communities. We therefore seek to collaborate with you in your important work. Now, our goal is to better understand the needs and issues of our community so that we may better serve our community as we move into our next 90 years. Our project director, Ugochi Oniyuku, will speak with you about an exciting survey we are in the process of designing and a few job opportunities associated with it. Ugochi?
Hi, so I'm sharing right now a flyer that we have in the chat. We plan to conduct a virtual community assessment survey to hear, identify, and learn about the issues, needs, and strengths of our community. This survey will be made available to all Harlem zip codes. The goals of our survey are to listen, hear, and understand the concerns and issues around health, education, food insecurity, housing, and youth, so that we can develop ministries that are specifically meaningful to our community. We welcome your participation and feedback to understand how we can better serve you and our neighbors. This survey will be during the summer of 2020, and we will share the results with the survey with you once it's complete. We also have 3 job opportunities that come along with this survey process. And they're paid part-time temporary positions, a field supervisor position, a liaison position, and survey interviewers. For more details, you can contact me at rdc@trcnyc.org. So we're just here actually to ask for feedback on what you would like to see from a survey of this kind and an assessment of this kind, and to build a partnership with you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Martha. And
Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, our next pre-registered speaker.
The next that was the last pre-registered. I can go back to the top, and then we have an additional hand up in the public list.
Okay, very good. So back to our first on the list, and then Mark Levine, I think, was next.
So I believe it's Amir Kotbi, Mark Levine. That's all. So in the public room, we have Jewel Jones.
Well, if they are not on, I say we move on. If
Yep.
Mark happens to rejoin later, we could let him address as well. Okay, that concludes our pre-registered speakers. And we move on to our elected official reports, please.
Xavier, I'm sorry, we had one hand, Jewel Jones.
Oh, one hand. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Go on.
I'm trying to get it to unmute. Jewel?
Sure.
Okay. All right, she's, let's see here.
Hi. Disregard.
Hey, hey.
I'll speak. Hi, everyone. Disregard. I'll speak next month. Thank you.
Okay, Jewel, thank you.
Okay, good to hear your voice, Joel. All right, now we can move on to elected official reports, please.
Okay. Any elected official representatives, please raise your hands in the chat so we can call on you. I will call on the names that I recognize first. So we have Maggie McDermott from Senator Brian Benjamin's office. Hi, Maggie. Maggie?
Maggie, are you there?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Good evening, everyone.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Two to tell us everything you got to share, and leave about a minute open for questions. Thank you so much for being here.
Sure, thank you. So I'm from the office of Senator Brian A. Benjamin's office. My name is Maggie McDermott. I'm the Director of Social Services. The Senator has been extremely busy legislatively. He recently sponsored the Eric Gardner Anti-Chokehold Act, which was passed about 2 weeks ago. This act makes police use of a chokehold a criminal offense with up to 15 years in prison. Senate Democrats' anti-police abuse program passed this week. It eliminates SHIELD that kept police records of complaints against officers hidden from the public, guaranteed the rights of citizens to record police activity, guaranteed that police shall provide medical and psychological assistance to those in custody, created state office to investigate police misconduct, and require courts to compile and publish racial and other demographic data of all low-level offenses, including misdemeanors and violations. He also worked on the Emergency Rent Relief Act, $1 million in rent vouchers to landlords in cases where tenants cannot make rent. HCR is working on implementing this law now. In regards to local activities that Senator Benjamin has recently partaken in, he has had several PPE distributions in East Harlem at major residences, agencies, and religious organizations. For example, 1199 Taino Towers. He recently gave out masks, hand sanitizer, and meals. He also assisted Kasabe House senior residents with masks and hand sanitizer. Any questions? Any comments?
Are there any questions for Maggie? Please raise your hand, and Angel or Carly will call on you.
Jason Wu has his hand up. Jason?
Hi, Maggie. Thank you.
Hi, Jason.
Hey. I was wondering if you can comment on the senator's position on cancel rent. On Monday, there were massive citywide protests to demand cancel rent and to extend the eviction moratorium. So I was wondering if you can also speak on that issue.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not prepared to speak on that particular issue, but I can have a dialogue with a conversation with the senator. And could you shoot me an email with exactly what information you'd like me to acquire in regards to the rent?
Sure. I think the housing committee has been working on this issue as well, but I can touch base with Jeremiah and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. And then, as you know, we will respond accordingly. Okay, Jason?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other hands raised, Angel?
Sure. So the next is Wilfredo Lopez from Councilmember Kalos's office.
Okay. Wilfredo, you have the con.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So first things first, if you haven't voted, go out and vote. Polls are open till 9 p.m. tonight. If you're having any issues with ballots, feel free to reach out. We've been in contact with BOE all day concerning issues that have been happening across the city. Next piece of news is obviously, as you're all aware, phase 2 of reopening began on Monday. Bars, restaurants can offer outdoor dining and professional services, like, barbershops are now open. The city's working with community groups to find more spaces for seating, and they're looking at more locations for open streets coming in July. If you're a business owner, if you're watching this, or if you're tuned in, if you're a business owner and you want to either pose a question or try to get open seating for your location, you can call SBS at 1-888-SBS4NYC. I will drop a link in a second that has all this information. They'll also have guidance available. You can also email me at wlopez@benkalos.com, and I'd be more than happy to facilitate the conversation with SBS. As this reopening scheme moves forward, the most important aspect is going to be testing. As you know, New York City is offering free testing, so you can go get your free test at many locations. I'll drop a link that you can click on, put in your address, and I'll tell you where the nearest location is. To address what's been happening in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement and with the defund the police, there's nothing else left to say other than we're a nation and city in pain. And we're just looking for, a world where, Black men will no longer die at the hands of our police. The mayor has not done well to propose a budget that invests in our communities, but continues to invest in our police. So the council member joined with other members of the council to call on a defunding of the NYPD of $1 billion for this fiscal year. And we're looking for that money to be reinvested into communities, specifically in programs such as SYEP, Cornerstone, and Compass, as well as fully funding Department of the Aging programs, so DFTA programs. Along that same vein, we were a co-sponsor on the slate of bills that were proposed and passed last week concerning policing, including the right to record, the ban on chokeholds, the POST Act, which is the public oversight of surveillance technology, to display the numbers of the badge bill, and also this disciplinary matrix. So we hope that this goes a long way to helping to improve the transparency and accountability for the police. We know that it's only a first step, a small step, but it's a step in the right direction. So with that, I'm dropping the link right now in the chat to our latest newsletter that has all the information that I just gave you, and I am open to any questions.
All right, do we have any hands raised, Angel?
None with questions, no, Xavier.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Wilfredo. All right, who do we have next?
Okay, Councilmember Mark Levine is now with us.
Okay, wonderful. All right, Mark, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes. Thank you so much, Javier.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to say a few words to all of you in my capacity as chair of the City Council's Health Committee. Of course, I partner hand in hand with your wonderful local council member, Diana Ayala, who chairs the Committee on Mental Health and Addiction. And I want to speak to you about what's ahead for the pandemic at a time when we are facing uncertainty on many fronts, crisis on many fronts. And frankly, New Yorkers are ready to be done with coronavirus. Unfortunately, the reality is coronavirus is not done with us yet. Yesterday, for example, we had over 300 new cases confirmed. That was just yesterday. The virus is still circulating in our city. And so as we are in phase 2 now, we need to remain vigilant and cautious. We have to continue to social distance and wash our hands and cover our face. And what I really want to focus on is the importance that everybody participate in contact tracing. This is a key pillar of our strategy to prevent a rebound of the virus as more and more people are congregating in public. This program started several weeks ago, but we need more people to participate in CB11 and beyond. Everybody who tests positive now is going to get a call from a contact tracer who's going to check if they need help, talk about who in their family or workplace or other relations could have been infected, and help anyone who could be at risk to quarantine, to isolate, or to get medical services. So far, we are not getting the level of participation that we need. We need more people to talk to contact tracers, to share their contacts, and to isolate and quarantine if they're contagious. That's how we can slow the spread of the virus. We do have very good services available to people who might need to isolate from their families by staying in a hotel. The city will pay for that and provide food. We have services for people who need to quarantine. Again, the city can bring you food and prescriptions and even dog walking, but we need more people to take part. So I'm appealing to you as leaders on CB11, as leaders in your neighborhood, to be ambassadors for this. Start talking to your neighbors, people who seek your guidance about contact tracing. Let them know they need to get tested. And if they do get tested, they'll get a call from a contact tracer. If they're exposed, they need to quarantine. Folks are scared. They're worried about privacy. They don't trust government. They're worried about enforcement. I understand that, but this is a program which provides anonymity, which provides real economic assistance, and it's done entirely without any punitive enforcement. So I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you for your time and thank you for your help in the next stage of our fight against coronavirus.
Thank you, Council Member. Are there any questions?
Yes, Xavier, we have 3 questions from members. First, Rakeem Brooks, then Nye Whitaker, and then Jason Wu.
Okay, in that order, please.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Hey, Council Member, thanks for this update. One of the concerns that I've had, especially coming from CB11, are the requirements to actually be a contact tracer.
Yes.
My understanding is that the requirements require a bachelor's degree and public health experience. Could you speak about whether or not those in your view, those requirements are actually commensurate with what's required of that particular worker? Because obviously there are a lot of people unemployed, particularly in our communities, and in our community in particular, there are a number of people who don't have the requisite background but might be perfectly able to do the job.
This is such an important point. We need people on the ground in the communities impacted, which CB11 very much is, to be in these jobs, because they're going to have the trust of the community, understand the community. There are many different titles within the contact tracing corps, including some which don't have such high educational requirements. There's a job called Resource Navigator, which is extremely important. That's connecting people to the kinds of services I mentioned, whether it's food or other assistance. And so that's extremely important. I'm also excited that the city is going to be hiring 20 different community-based organizations to do outreach. There's a $10 million program that's about to start, an RFP coming. So we need to get community people involved. And what I can do after I speak is drop a link in the chat for employment opportunities, including some that are on the lower end of the educational requirement spectrum.
Thank you very much for that question, for the response. Next, was it Nye Angel or?
Nye Whitaker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On Nye.
Sure. Thank you, Chair, excuse me, Vice Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Mark Levine, for your time this evening. I am just very concerned about the City Council's budget and the city's budget, and the fact that, you know, they're making cuts in order to compensate for the financial impacts that the pandemic has had on our community. I'm very much concerned about the fact that the majority of people in our district rely on our city hospitals for medical services. Many also are undocumented, and that's where they go to receive care for their family members and their children. And so I was just hoping you could speak a little bit about what we're hearing in the news about these proposed cuts to our health and hospitals services and our other services at a time when we know that our communities of color are disproportionately impacted by this virus and are dependent on these services in order to you know, live healthy and sustainable lives and hopefully recoup post-pandemic.
This is such an important question, Nye. This pandemic has laid bare the profound inequalities in healthcare in this city. It's driven the disproportionately high fatality rates in communities of color, and specifically in CB11. So we simply cannot ignore this. We have got to invest in the healthcare institutions that are meeting the needs of low-income communities. And I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be a big fight over the next week. We already took a hit with Medicaid cuts earlier in the year in the state budget, which have impacted directly our public hospitals. And there are a number of vulnerable public health programs that could get cut in the budget. We don't know yet, but I'm going to be fighting tooth and nail to keep them whole, to protect the programs that are serving low-income people. And the more you all can speak up, the better. We need the public to speak out about this, to say we can't cut healthcare in the middle of a pandemic that has been itself driven by racial inequality. So I appreciate you bringing this up. I'm going to be fighting tooth and nail over the next week to protect these programs, but we need the public weighing in as well.
Okay, thank you very much. The other question, who else had their hand raised, Angel?
That was me, Jason.
Oh, Jason, okay, go on, Jason.
Thank you. So good evening, Councilmember Levine. First, I wanted to just say thank you for your work on Right to Counsel and your continued leadership in fighting to expand it across the city. I wanted to build on Nye's question regarding the city budget, and specifically there's been calls to defund the NYPD, and many of our elected officials have already committed to a $1 billion cut. And we've heard from not only in our district, but across the city, the need for more cuts to the NYPD budget and to reallocate that funding to things like healthcare and hospitals and education and housing and all of that. And so can you clarify what your position is on the cuts to NYPD? And do you think $1 billion is enough? Are you looking to cut more from the NYPD? What is kind of your position on that? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jason, for the question and for your support of Right to Counsel. It's a topic for another day, but we need to dramatically expand it now because of the potential massive wave of evictions we're facing as housing court reopens. It reopened this week, you probably know. I believe we can and should cut $1 billion from the NYPD budget. As we have been digging into the numbers in the council, it's clear that is doable. I think there is growing momentum for that in the body. I'm not sure what the mayor's position on that is. And frankly, I'm expecting that's going to be a really contentious negotiation. We need to do that both because we want to avoid a continuation of overly aggressive policing in communities of color. We also want to free up funding for the kinds of social programs that we've been talking about in healthcare, in housing and in homeless services and much else. So potentially this could solve multiple problems, and I'm pushing very, very hard in my own capacity as a council member, as part of the Progressive Caucus, and as an advocate for healthcare. I'm out there saying we need access to that funding. And look, ultimately, that kind of investment in social programs and young people and some youth employment, it makes the city safer. It's a proven strategy to make our city safer. And that's the kind of thing we should be investing in, not taking money out of. So that's my position. I'm going to be fighting very hard down the home stretch for that.
Okay.
Can you clarify if you think a $1 billion cut is enough, or do you think we should be cutting further from the NYPD budget?
I don't know about further than that. I responded to tens of thousands of emails and calls and other input I got on social media demanding $1 billion, and have done a lot of work on figuring out how we can do that, and I really believe it is doable and that we should do it. I don't know about more than that. I'd be happy to connect with you offline about that if you have specific ideas on how we can get to a bigger number. I'll drop my email in the chat in case you don't have it, if you want to reach out directly on that.
Great. Thank you very much. I saw one hand come up, David Giordano, just a moment, and take one more question related to the contact tracing. David?
You know, this was the extension of, we're taking a resolution today to remove school safety guards from the police department. And so I guess in tying into police funding, you know, what's your view on putting back the security of youth, or the safety of youth, back into the DOE's hands as opposed into the police department?
We should have done that a long time ago, and I certainly support doing it now. I think for the first adult a young person sees walking in the building to be someone who's a member of the NYPD sends the wrong message to young people that they're being treated as a security risk, and it makes it more likely that we escalate. And so I'm very happy to hear that CB11 is considering that resolution today, and it's something that we're talking a lot about down at the City Council, and that I think there's a pretty broad support for. But to get a reso from CB11 this week would be really impactful and well timed. So I'm glad you all are doing that.
Thank you, thank you. We were working with the CEC from District 4 as well. Just a follow-up, because we talk a lot about SYEP and youth, right? But, you know, SYEP is DYCD funding. So again, where's the funding and behind the funding for youth, for summer camps? And I'm talking about virtual camps. So we're running virtual camps at Children's Aid at a deficit, just like every other CBO nonprofit, trying to stay connected to families and kids. And if 1/5 of our population is going to be in summer school, they're going to need the supports as well. So if you could just, where are we with advocating?
Well, yeah, look, the executive budget that was proposed in April by the administration cut the Department of Youth and Community Development by 32%, while, by the way, essentially leaving the NYPD budget unchanged. And that's unacceptable. And that has meant hundreds of millions in cuts to youth programs, the very programs that we need to be investing in right now to make our city healthier and safer. And yeah, it's DYCD, it's also Beacons, it's Sonic, it's a variety of youth development programs. I would say that is the #1 priority of what cuts the City Council, the colleagues I talk to, want to restore. I think that's probably where the fiercest fight is going to come from. And that is the kind of thing we could actually refund if we cut money out of NYPD. So I'm with you on that fight. And I think that's probably the broadest consensus across the body. But we need to get agreement from the administration. I think that's going to be a tough negotiation. But I think it's going to be, one, heck of a fight unless we can restore that money.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. One more question from Andrew Padilla, and then we have Amir Khatbi, who's gotten back on the line. So I'm going to transition out of after this question to Amir. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hi, does everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, buddy.
Oh, great. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for your time. You mentioned support for $1 billion in NYPD cuts this fiscal year to help even the devastating amount of cuts that we're facing in every other part of our city, including hospitals during a pandemic. But I did want to clarify, do you commit to voting no on the budget if $1 billion in cuts does not come through in that final budget for fiscal year 21?
I need to know more about exactly what specifically would be cut in the NYPD, whether they would bring about substantial change in policing or not, and where the money would go to. So I'm not ready to tell you how I'm going to vote yet, but it's the kind of thing I'm reevaluating every day as we learn more, and would be happy to also speak directly to you offline if you'd like to follow up further on that in the days ahead.
Okay.
Right,
Thank
so
you very much, Andrew.
That's not a commitment to vote no on the budget if $1 billion is not achieved.
Yeah, I need to know more, but you know what I'm fighting for and what I've said on the record that I think we can and should do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you, Council Member.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay, have a good evening. Stay safe.
Be safe now. Bye-bye.
All right, will do. Okay, we're going to circle back to our pre-registered speakers. Amir Khatbi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You have 3 minutes. I recommend 2 minutes to kind of talk about what you want to talk about, and then leave another minute for questions. Can you hear us?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much. I will jump right to it because I know time is tight. My name is Amar Khatbi. I'm a manager with the Community and Government Affairs team at New York Public Library. Just wanted to check in and share a few of our updates. The first one is that we are planning to reopen in mid-July. The specific date has not been finalized, but it should be by the end of this week. We're going to start with 8 branches, which also will be finalized at the end of this week, and I will send that information out as soon as I get it. And the branches are going to be spread out across key neighborhoods in the 3 boroughs that we serve. Initially, these branches are going to do grab-and-go services. So basically what that means is primarily folks who are reserving books from home, they can come to the library, pick them up, and then take them to go. That's all it's going to be at first. However, on an ongoing basis and a bi-weekly basis, we'll be reopening more and more of our branches and offering more and more services at those branches. So things like computer use and different programs and that sort of thing. Our ultimate goal is to reopen all of our branches. So we are expecting to come out on the other side of this with the same presence that we've had before. And if anything, we're hoping to maintain the digital presence that we've established during the pandemic. I want to talk a little bit about that very quickly. So we are offering a lot of digital services right now. We have a Tech Connect program where folks can sign up for different classes, free Excel basics class, an advanced Microsoft Word class, how to create your own web page. We have career counseling, one-on-one sessions. We have a lot of services for distance learning, whether you're a teacher or a caregiver or a student. We have virtual story times. We have a community resource page, which gets into resources for folks who need help with housing or food security. And then the other thing I wanted to mention very quickly is our summer reading program. We are doing summer reading this year. We started that earlier this month. It's primarily a virtual program with virtual events, and students can track their progress online. However, we also know that a lot of students don't have internet access. And so we are preparing 40,000 book kits to hand out to students in primarily underserved neighborhoods. The book kits are going to include a couple books, an at-home activity, and that sort of thing. It's going to be, imagine a tote bag that has these items in it. Right now, I'm coordinating an effort to work with different electeds who are already doing food and PPE distribution to see if they are interested in including these book kits in that existing distribution framework. So I will stop there and happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions?
Saw a hand up. Where is it? Osendi Garcia, board member, has a question. Osendi?
Okay. Osendi?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question for you. I do outreach work within the homeless community. As you may know, the homeless community uses Weaver Public Libraries as a place to not only rest, they use the computers to seek out resources. And with the pandemic, a lot of the people that I'm connecting with don't have access to a lot of the resources that typically they would have with the library open. Would you mind including some maybe a packet or maybe a plan of action to provide support to the homeless population that is being ignored right now?
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So that is definitely something that I know we're well aware of. And I know that, for example, one thing we are working on is opening up a few of our locations as cooling centers. Because we know that the library is a place for a lot of folks to cool off. Beyond that, there are certain safety protocols we have that we don't want to increase infection rates and so forth. So eventually we look forward to being at full capacity and be able to serve those members of our community who are experiencing homelessness the same way we always have. And I will absolutely run what you said back to my team and leadership and see if there's something we can do in addition to that as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, wonderful. I think we have one more question from Robert Harvey.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering, have there been any thought or possibility of partnering with any local schools or charter organizations with regards to the book distribution? I know a number of schools have book routes that food routes that they're currently doing, like food truck style, in partnership with organizations like Butterbeans, where families can access multiple points and not have to make it to the school itself. So has that been a consideration to partner, since there are already food distribution routes happening at most of the local charters?
Yes, absolutely. So our youth services, youth re-education team has been working with DOE, and from what I understand, they've started conversations about being able to tap into those networks. And so that's really going to be the bulk of this distribution. What my team is doing is trying to go in addition to that and see if we can do a bit more of a grassroots efforts to connect with communities more directly.
Wonderful. If there are no further questions, would you mind sharing your contact information in the chat, please?
Absolutely.
Specifically.
Will do.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have Gail on yet, our borough president?
Not yet. We do not.
Okay. All right. We'll circle back to the borough president's report then. I'd like to begin the meeting. First, a couple things before we have roll call. I want to welcome all our new members. Again, sorry, Nilsa cannot be here due to her bereavement, loss of her sister. But I still want to welcome each and every one of you. Please say hello in the chat. I will check them later after we're done with the meeting. Usually we have people stand up and are recognized when we have our full board meeting where we have all the new members attend. Unfortunately, we can't do it this way, so type in the chat. A couple things. This is our first time doing full board in this format. Other boards throughout Manhattan have done it. Some have been successful. Others have been an epic 5-6 hours, as we learned at Borough Board. I think we can beat all of them, just like we won the recycling competition. And I think we can set the goal of getting through this meeting very effectively. And some of those things that we have already discussed are going to be bundling our votes where we combine them. I will read them out. If you have questions, you can ask, but please raise your hand. Don't talk over each other because it'll be hard to actually monitor and answer the questions. So by bundling and doing all this, we'll actually be able to maybe have about 11, 13 votes where we will have to call the entire roll. So all 50 names at full attendance. And that would be better than having 28 to 31. So I think we can all agree that it's a lofty and goal, but I think we can do just fine. So with that, I'm going to pass over the baton to Denelyn to call the roll, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I just want to say I apologize if I butcher the last name for the new board members. Feel free to correct me after you say present. Altamirano. Arciaga, present. Arroyo.
Present. Sorry.
Biggs.
Present.
Vriha.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Brown, excused. Chan. Oh. Chan. Collier.
Here.
Diaz. Donadell. Elliott.
Here.
Encarnacion.
Present.
Farah.
Present. Can you hear me?
Yep. Febraro.
Here.
Flores.
Presente.
Garcia.
Here.
Giordano.
Here.
Goldblum. Green.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Heredia.
Here.
Hume.
Here.
Kamla.
Hi, you live here? Oh, sorry.
Kamwa. Kiris Petrucci. Liriano. Mac.
Here.
Malave.
Present.
Marcial. Martin.
Here.
Mastrada. Excused. McCullough.
Here.
Meyer.
Present.
Morris.
Here.
Nilsa excused. Padilla.
Presente.
Perez.
Here.
Ramirez. Sanders. Santiago.
Present.
Schlotman. Scott.
You on the call, right, me?
Here, Cat.
I'm so sorry. Is Scott present or? Okay, Schuler.
Here.
Torres. Villanueva, Jason.
Presente.
And then Steven Villanueva.
Villanueva, presente. Vaya.
Vives Vasquez.
Here.
Whitaker.
Present.
Wiltshire Clements, excused, and Wu.
Here.
Okay, we have quorum.
Gentlemen,
great.
Eva is on the call. I was trying to unmute her, but I see her on the list.
I'm
Okay, that's fine. And if I missed anyone else or you're uncertain, just feel free to privately message me and I'll correct it on our attendance tracker. Thank you.
Okay. Wonderful. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved by Jason Villanueva.
Seconded by Denelon.
Okay, please call the roll, and that, guys, try to unmute as quickly as possible so we can plow right through this. Thank you.
Okay, Denelon, yes. Arroyo.
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Briha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Chan, Collier,
Yes.
Diaz, or I'm sorry, Elliott,
Here. I mean, yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Here. Yes, I mean, yes. Oh my goodness.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores, Raja, you there? Okay, Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Goldblum, Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mac, Marissa.
Present. Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to take that as yes. Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva, Jason.
Presente.
No, yes or no? Villanueva, Stephen.
Yes.
Vives Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. What we're going to do next, we don't have an official chair's report. I will pass it over to the district manager and then the officer reports, and we'll vote on that as one set bundle to approve those reports. So Angel, if you would please go over your district manager's report that you read to us, or you sent over to us earlier this afternoon, please.
Sure. So hello, everyone. Just wanted to thank everyone for their patience these last few months. On top of everything that's going on in the world, we've tried to provide as helpful a service as we can on behalf of the staff to our members in order to help you conduct your business these last few months. We do hope that you have found that helpful. I know there have been some growing pains, but I have been pleased to see how much participation we have had from our members, despite a couple of bumps. I'm particularly pleased to see how much participation we've had from our new members. So in terms of reports, just wanted to touch on a couple of things of import. On June 6th, the governor extended the suspension of the in-person meeting requirement of the open meetings law until July 6th in Executive Order 202.38. This is the suspension that has allowed us to meet remotely these last few months. Barring a further extension, which I have not heard of one just yet, we will not be able to hold remote meetings past July 6th. It's concerning because we have also not received any guidance on how we are to conduct meetings after the suspension of the in-person meeting requirement is lifted. Borough President Brewer has written to the governor asking him to consider allowing community boards to continue to meet remotely or in some kind of hybrid meeting. As you know, our conference room is very handy to have. Not all boards have them, but it is rather small, and our committees can get rather large, so social distancing is next to impossible. We're waiting to hear back from the governor on the borough president's suggestion. As you know, you received emails from me. We're currently collecting committee assignment requests from our board members. If you have not already done so, please submit them by July 3rd. Our chair will be, excuse me, reviewing them the first couple of weeks of July in the hopes of announcing assignments and leadership assignments by August 1st. But in order to meet that deadline, that goal, we need the cooperation of our members. So far, I think I have about 15 or 16, so many of you still have homework. On June 23rd, so actually that's wrong, June 22nd, CB11 participated in the reopening town hall of the borough president hosted. And our assistant district manager, Carly Wine, stepped in and did a fantastic job moderating the parks and public spaces discussion. She was questioning the borough commissioner for the Parks Department and a deputy chief from Manhattan North Police Department. There's a link in my printed report to the video of the town hall if you're interested in seeing Carly show off. It's in there. We're all very happy of the job that she did, as we expected. There is a project that, you know, the community has asked, has been wanting to see come to life for many years, which is the renovation of La Placita, and we saw that come to life last year. However, we've recently heard or learned that the MTA will be doing a complete replacement of the viaduct, the Metro North viaduct that runs along Park Avenue from 115th Street to 119th Street. I mean, all of that steel that we've gotten so used to seeing is all going to go. And much of that steel is right above La Placita. So all that work that was done to La Placita is going to be impacted. So one, we're going to lose access, of course, but also all the work that was put into it is going to go away for a bit. The MTA is on the hook for replacing absolutely every inch of it in kind, but we will be without that space that the community has so long expected to be available to them. Right now, the estimated time frame for the project is from 2023 through 2026. As I learn more details, I will of course keep everyone apprised. The MTA is conducting a rather extensive repair and renovation and replacement project for the viaduct. In some areas, as I was just describing, complete replacement is necessary. In others, there'll be some fixes, and in others, there's even less work. It's just aesthetics like painting. So those of you that are in the northern part of the district, along 131st and 132nd Street, would probably see how the viaduct has been wrapped, because the MTA is currently in the process of setting up, or probably has already begun, a repainting project of the viaduct in those blocks. I think that's it. That's my report. Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none.
Okay, thank you very much, Angel. Next, we'll have the Vice Chair's report. I'll try to keep it very brief. I'd sent you 2 pages rather than sending you a laundry list of all the Zoom calls and everything we've been attending, sometimes simultaneously or back to back. I wanted to highlight some of the issues in there. I'm submitting it for mainly for information purposes only, but the couple things I want to pull out, especially after attending the along with Carly and Angel at the Borough President's Town Hall. It was interesting to hear a lot of the same collective concerns throughout, not just Northern Manhattan, but in general that's being experienced over the city. I do think that we have to be very supportive of our small businesses. You can see some notes on that, and also too with our SYEP and finding outlets for our youth. There are a lot of CBOs and other organizations that are work with us, if we're to face and I really implore all of you to be as involved as you can, be the eyes and ears of the community and bring that back to the table and be engaging as possible in a time of COVID-19. So those are the kind of points I just, and please keep in touch, stay safe, and as soon as we can reconvene together, we will let you know. So thank you. Do we have a, sorry, my kids just finished dinner. Now they're coming out. Do we have a secretary's report?
No, I'm passing for the report for secretary.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
Pass.
Okay, so you don't have a report for this this month. Okay, thank you. All right. With that being said, I'd like to bundle the district manager's report and the vice chair's report into one. Do we have a motion to approve the two reports?
Motion to approve by Jessica Elliott.
Seconded by Donaldin.
Okay, roll call, please.
Arroyo,
Here.
Biggs,
Yes.
Griha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan, Collier, Elliott,
Yes, I am. Sorry.
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano, Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mack, Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva, Jason,
Yes.
Villanueva, Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Donaldin. Moving on to our committee reports and action items.
Xavier.
Yes.
Xavier, can you hear me? I'm very sorry. I had some technical difficulties joining the meeting. This is Jeremiah Schloman. So
Okay.
I'm here in attendance by phone.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jeremiah. We're just now moving into committee reports and action items. And first up is actually our committee, which is housing.
Yes, so good evening, everyone. So for housing, and just, all of us have been meeting virtually over the last few months. The minutes that have been submitted for housing, cover an array of topics, but the main things that I would like folks to know about is, of course, things in the legal system are in a state of flux. So there are, information in there that for resources for tenants during the COVID-19 pandemic and what is the state of law right now and the eviction moratorium and the court operations. So there's a lot of information in there that, I would be happy to talk about with anybody if you'd like. But in the interest of time, I also, for action items, there is a resolution that for the cancellation of rent payments, mortgage payments for certain folks, and utilities payments that have accrued during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there have been the committee has met and discussed all of the various legislative proposals that are on the table in New York in order to assist tenants during the pandemic. And we discussed the merits, the positives, and the drawbacks of each of them. There are some measures that definitely go farther than others. After hearing all of the various proposals and weighing the information, we've had really good discussion in the Housing Committee about this policy, and a consensus grew, I believe, in my committee that to support this resolution calling for the cancellation of rent payments, mortgage payments for small homeowners, landlords, and nonprofit landlords, and utilities payments during the COVID-19 pandemic. We believe that, this is a solution that is a true solution that is necessary to help those that are most affected by the pandemic financially, as well as, physically, medically. And, this is, again, also, we believe the only way that we can properly shift the burden and the hardships that come as a result of the pandemic to those who are most able to shoulder that burden. So, with that, I don't want to, I think you all have the text of the resolution. I don't know if we want to move towards any questions, but that's the quick summary of a lot of intense work that the committee has been engaged in over the last several months since we've been meeting virtually.
All right, thank you very much, Jeremiah. For those who, please make sure to mute yourself so we can actually hear who is speaking at the time. Are there any questions for Jeremiah? Because we will address this down in executive where we took a vote. So if there are no other questions, thank you very much, Jeremiah. I'm going to move on to, since there's not an action item under housing, we're going to move on to public safety and transportation. I don't believe we have Jose Altamirano, our chair. Is the vice chair on?
Xavier,
yep.
Public safety doesn't currently have a chair, but Carly.
Okay, doesn't at this point in time. Wasn't sure
Carly
if we
can
had
speak
one
to it.
assigned.
She's the liaison.
Okay, could we have Carly? Could you please speak to the minutes and the meetings, and then we'll move on to the motion.
Yeah, sure. So we currently don't have the minutes for the meeting, but the Public Safety and Transportation Committee meeting, at the beginning of every meeting, we have informational updates from the NYPD, from the District Attorney of New York, and also we had Marieli from Assembly Member Robert Rodriguez attend, and she presented on, where she just discussed or gave us some information about some of the legislations on the floor of the state, which have now been passed. But the committee did pass a motion to provide a letter in support of the repeal of 50A. 50A is a statute that shields personnel records, including records of misconduct and disciplinary actions of police officers, firefighters, and correction officers. A motion was made by Jessica Morris and seconded by Andrew Padilla, and the motion passed unanimously. Since that motion is passed, the legislation to repeal 50A was passed by the state legislature and signed into law by Governor Andrew Cuomo on June 9th. So yeah, that was pretty much the meeting. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Does anyone have any questions for Carly? Okay. If there are no questions and the law has been passed, I think it would be good to be on the right side of enshrining our position and taking an official vote. So could I have a motion, please?
Motion, Kelsey.
Say that again.
By Jessica Elliott.
Okay.
There's a motion by Elsie.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
All right, roll call. Roll call, please.
Denelin, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Briha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan,
Yep.
Collier,
Yes.
Sarah,
Come on.
Farah,
Yes. Yes.
okay, Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough, Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla,
Here. Yes.
Perez.
Yes.
Um,
I'm sorry, McCullough is a yes.
okay, thank you. Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
and then Pastor Scott. I don't know, I see him.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I'm here.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva, Stephen, or sorry, Jason,
Yes.
and then Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, moving on. Thank you, Carly. The motion carries. And on to license and permits. Adem,
All right,
are you there?
Yep, I'm here. We'll start with the liquor licenses. So first up would be, I guess, item 2 on your agenda for the motions. It's La Guadalupe Restaurant Corp. There's an alteration application for a wine, beer, and cider license. The alteration was simply they were adding a basement area for storage. They provided all the required documents. So the committee recommended that that application be approved. Next one was number 3, El Nuevo Sandy Restaurant. It was a renewal application for a full liquor license. They had all the documents that were needed. So again, the committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 4 is Side Park Cafe Corp. Renewal for a full liquor license. They had all the documents that were required. So the committee recommended that motion be approved. Number 5 was MN Business Group, doing business as the kiosk. It was a renewal application for a full liquor license. They had all the documents needed. So again, the committee recommended that that application be approved. And the final liquor license for this month was East Harlem Bottling Corp. LLC. There was a renewal application for a wine, beer, and cider license. And they had all the documents required. So the committee recommended that that application be approved. I guess I'll stop there. And then we'll do the street activities next.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much. And
You're
since those were all approvals, I'm going to recommend bundling. If you look at your action items here, number 2, La Guadalupe Restaurant Corp. Number 3, El Nuevo Sandy Restaurant, Inc. Number 4, Side Park Cafe Corp. Number 5, MN Business Group, Incorporated, doing business as the kiosk. Number 6, East Harlem Bottling Company, LLC, doing business as East Harlem Bottling Company. Do we have a motion?
Villanueva, motion to support the committee's recommendations.
Second by Candy.
Okay, so that's Stephen Villanueva, and then a second by Candy. Call the roll, please.
Hi, sorry. I just wanted to first ask, is there anyone who is present not voting due to conflict of interest?
Yes. Not voting. Giselle.
For which item?
For licenses, I believe, liquor licenses.
Who is that? For all 5 items?
Yes.
Okay.
Why would you be present? No.
Do you have, hold on, Adam. Do you have a conflict of interest with any of these? Are you a business owner or
Yes,
shareholder?
I'm a business owner. Yes.
No, a shareholder in any of these particular businesses?
No.
Okay, then you only have a conflict of interest when you actually say have business before the board if you're a business owner. So if you don't have that, then there shouldn't be I'm a business owner as well. I can still vote on these too, and I have a business in the community. So that's, if it's your business that has business before the board, if you had a restaurant that was coming for renewal, then you would be present, not voting. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other conflicts of interest, now that we've clarified that, I'd like to return to calling the roll for approval.
Okay. Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Rehab,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla,
Yes, and sorry for the delay in getting it done.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlottman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva, Jason,
Yes.
Whitaker, Nye,
Yes.
and then Wu.
I always wait to hear Candy first.
Wait, you missed me. Candy.
I thought Candy was the second.
No, and you also skipped Steven. Steven is right after me, before me.
I thought that
Okay.
both of you guys
Guys,
motioned and
guys,
seconded.
Guys, no crosstalk, please. Just go ahead and call them.
Okay.
Go on, Denley.
Wu.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Denley. Yeah, please, even if they made the motion or seconded, please just call them for the record. Real quick, we had a hand up from Nye. Do you have a question related to this business or?
I just had a question in general, point of clarification for licensing and permits. We're hearing a lot of restaurants, prematurely making sidewalk cafes and being fined, and I just didn't know how that information gets conveyed to us in case, actually, I thought I saw someone that was up for a renewal or change that had been on the radar of getting complaints in the southern part of our district. So I just didn't know what that mechanism was for reporting issues during the pandemic with restaurants.
Okay, so what I'd like to do, we can circle back to that. Let's get through the street activity permits and then we can have maybe Angel opine on that, if you don't mind. Let's get through these action items and then we can circle back, okay?
Okay, I guess I'm
Adam?
going. Street
Yes.
activity permit.
Yes, Adam.
All right, item 7 was, and that's the first street activity permit, was Jungle Gym Weekend Walk. That's for July 17th, 2020. They did not have all the required documents, nor were they in attendance at the meeting to explain why they were missing them. So the committee recommended to deny that application. Number 8 was also Jungle Gym Weekend Walk. That was for July 24th. And that was also denied for the same reason. Number 9 is Afro Bembe Single Block Festival for July 26th. That was also denied for a lack of documentation. Number 10 was Harlem Community Justice Center's Weekend Walks for August 28th. Since this one was approved, they had all their documents. It's also between 3rd Avenue, on 3rd Avenue between East 116th and 121st Street. Number 11, Outreach Block Party for July 5th, 2020 at East 100th Street between Lexington and 3rd. The committee denied this application for a lack of documents, but since the license and permits meeting, the applicant has submitted all the required documents. So I would recommend, I guess, that we vote down the committee's motion and then make a new motion to approve item number 11, Outreach Block Party, because now they have all their documents. Number 12 is Family Day Block Party, August 1st, 2020. That's on East 127th Street between 3rd and Lexington Avenue. They had all their required documents, so the committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 13 is closing exercise block party, August 21st. It's on East 127th Street between 3rd and Lexington Avenue. They had all their required documents, so the committee recommended that that application be approved. And finally, number 14, back to school jam block party, September 5th, 2020. It's on East 114th between 1st and Pleasant. The same as item 11, they were denied by the committee for lacking some of the documents, but since the license and permits meeting, they have submitted all the required documents. So I again would recommend to the board that we vote down the committee's motion and then make a motion to approve, seeing as how all their documents are now in. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Adam. I'm going to take this and so we're going to first go through the approvals of, actually what we'll do is we'll do the denials first. Make it very simple that way. So we're going to bundle 7, 8, and 9. Number 7 is the Jungle Gym. Then number 8 is also the Jungle Gym. And then finally, number 9 is Afro Bembe. We're going to bundle those 3 to take up the committee's recommendation for a denial. So do I have a motion?
Villanueva, motion to support the committee's recommendation.
Seconded by Villanueva. Jason.
So Stephen and then Jason is the second. Roll call, please.
Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Briha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan, Collier,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes, yes, yes.
Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mac, Marissa,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva Jason,
Yes.
Villanueva Stephen,
I made the motion.
Vivas Vasquez, yeah, I know.
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now what we're going to hit are the approvals of 10, 12, and 13. I'm going to read them out, and then we will entertain a motion to adopt the committee's recommendation to approve. Number 10 is going to be Harlem Community Justice Center's weekend walks. Number 11, Outreach Block Party. Number 12, Family Day Block Party. 13. Scratch 12. 13, Closing Exercise Block Party. The committee recommended these to be approved. So that is 10, 12, and 13. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Yolanda.
Yolanda, do I have a second?
Second by Villanueva.
Malik.
I'm going to go with Malik to spread the love around on this one. Villanueva, thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Briha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan,
Don't fall back there. Stop playing.
Eva,
Yes.
Collier,
President, not voting for 12 and 13, Addie Mae Collins, I sit on tonight. Everything else is yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
President not voting noted for 12 and 13.
President not voting on 12 and 13, and yes on the other items.
okay. Thank you. Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla, Andrew.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yeah.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva Jason,
Yes.
Villanueva Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much, Denelyn. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take on number 11 and 14, and as again recommended, we are going to vote against the committee's recommendation. So instead of saying yes, you would be saying no, because we're not accepting the committee's recommendation. We will then circle back and take a motion to approve 11 and 14. So we're going to have to go through 2 roll calls. So please be patient. Again, reminding you, we are not accepting the committee's recommendation, so you should be voting no, unless you disagree with that. But they have provided all the documents. So number 11 is the outreach block party for July 25th, 2020. And number 14 is the back to school jam block party on September 5th. Is there a motion to deny?
Villanueva, motion
Motion to
against.
deny.
Please. Could we say, I heard Stephen Villanueva, and who was the second?
That was me, Jessica Elliott.
Jessica Elliott. Roll call, please.
Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Wait, I thought we were voting no. Is this the no?
or I mean like
Yes. No,
Yes.
no, you're voting
No.
to deny the committee's
to
recommendation.
deny. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, but yes
So
is in favor of denying, isn't it?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's
yes
to
in
deny.
favor- All right, yes in favor to deny.
Okay. Biggs,
Yes.
Briha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan,
Yes.
Collier, Diane. Okay.
Yes.
Thank, thank you. Elliot,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume, sorry, Hume, Mac.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Mac,
Yes. Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla,
Yeah. Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Slotman,
Yes.
Scott,
I thought it was going no, but yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva Jason,
Yes.
Villanueva Stephen,
Made the motion.
Vivas Vasquez. I know it's for candy.
Yeah, I'm voting no. Wait, yeah, okay.
Wait, you're saying no? Okay, Whitaker.
Yes to the denial.
Right, I'm saying yes for the denial. That's what I meant.
All right, Rue. Jason, Rue.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, fine. And then we're going to circle back to 11 and 14. I'm going to entertain a motion to improve the outreach block party and the back to school jam since they have provided all their documents. So we have a
Motion by Malik.
Malik, do we have a second?
Jessica Morris.
Second, Andrew.
Second by Jessica Morris. Call the roll, and then we're going to move on.
Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Briha,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown, Brown, Chan, Collier,
Mute the
Yes.
mic.
Did you hear that? Yes. Yes.
okay. Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano, David,
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry.
Green, Green,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva Jason,
Yes.
Villanueva Steven,
Yes.
Whitaker, or sorry, I'm sorry, Vivas Vasquez,
Yes, you can say Candy, that's fine.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. One quick note, you skipped over Robert Harvey and he is a yes. He just put that in the chat. So please, if you kindly notate that. All right, the motion carries. Very good. Now, I know you had a question about how we're going to handle enforcement. I think it would be helpful if we could have that conversation a little after in the interest of time, and also too, executive committee will more than likely meet on July 6th. We've asked all of our leadership to attend so that that's the last time we can meet by Zoom. And I think that's and mainly so we can approve any other liquor licenses. I think we just had one come in that was a new application. And I think that might be an appropriate venue to kind of take this on as we're now just entering phase 2. So we can just keep the ball rolling. And also too, you can, if you can just express a little bit more clearly, I can take a look at the chat as well. So I'm just gonna move things on to EOSP, so Environment, Open Space and Parks. Elliot, Jessica, would you please address your minutes?
Yes, excuse me, my cat. Let's see here. Turning on my video. All right, hi everyone. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and welcome to the new board members. Our committee has been productive despite being virtual, so thank you to all of our members and Carly for all of her help. For Randall's Island Park Alliance, there are still no permits being issued, but the park is still open with social distancing. Food services reopening, specifically at Ward's Island, and their urban farm is still closed but operating and delivering food to various organizations. Please reach out to me if you know of any organizations that could benefit from food delivery. For New York City parks, all playgrounds are still closed, parks are still open, and our Manhattan Borough President is pushing hard to allow us to be able to get permits at the parks. Parks is looking for sites to place misters for the heat this summer. If you have any input on that, please let me know. Construction has not yet restarted, but will restart in the next few weeks at all locations. And ambassadors are still handing out masks at all parks. Tennis courts will be next to open, but handball courts, basketball courts, playgrounds, etc. Have yet to be considered for reopening. At Marcus Garvey Park, there is the renovation of the drummer circle that has been completed, and Connie Lee is joining us as a public member, so welcome, Connie. Drummers are participating at the drummer circle around 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Saturdays, I believe. Friends of the East River Esplanade was also in attendance at our meeting this month. Jennifer Ratner reports that the Esplanade has been very heavily used. The state of the Esplanade is obviously still in disrepair in a lot of places,
and it is inequitable that our neighborhood's access is not equal to the rest of the city. I also attended the June 15th meeting with Friends of the Esplanade, which was a really great meeting to hear about all the work that's being done on the waterfront. We had 2 presentations, but unfortunately Steve Simon from NYC Parks was unable to be in attendance, but we had previously sent a request for information on April 29th regarding the Richard Toussaint Park letter of support from 2018 to get more information on progress and action items that the board may need to take to make sure that project is brought to completion as soon as possible. We have asked NYC Parks to provide a response and are still waiting for a formal response. We also had a committee presentation regarding the Vision 2020 DCP Comprehensive Waterfront Plan. Unfortunately, the DCP representatives were also unable to be in attendance. So we reviewed the aspects of the plan that respond to the issues in our neighborhood. We are in the process of compiling questions to send to DCP, and we'll be continuing that conversation over the summer. I think these 2 points, these presentations that actually didn't happen, were great points to end on. Surprisingly, as a committee, they're very important questions for equity in our community, and work will continue in working groups over the summer. So if you have any interest in being a part of these conversations, please send me an email. We're going to push for equitable access to the waterfront for our funded projects to be completed, and for all of the environmental and built environment aspects that factor into our collective community health. Thank you.
Great. If there are no questions for Jessica, I'd like to move on to Human Services. Are there any questions?
Naya corrected me on one thing. The drummers are in the park on Saturday afternoon. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Saturday in the drum circle on Saturday afternoon, and on the mid-level mezzanine to the watchtower on Wednesday evenings.
Okay. Thank you for that update and that correction. Much appreciated. Okay, great. Moving on to Human Services. We are looking for membership for Human Services. I can tell you that much. And people who have interest in it, we cover everything from our seniors to our hospital systems, mental health, well-being. It's a very broad spectrum committee, and we need people who have a passion for that. We had, and you can see the minutes for information purposes. Primarily, we did take one action item, which was a motion to write a letter of support of Exodus Transitional Community Incorporated to expand its mental health program and maintain its 85% client ratio serviced in East Harlem. It was a provisional approval. We wanted them to put on letterhead that they're committed to keeping their head count at 270, that they're going to cap it. And we did receive that letter confirming that. It's just offering an additional service. So that was a commitment, and it was passed by Isaac Scott and seconded by Denon Arciaga. That was the action item. One bit of issue, we have been trying to get Oasis to come out and present to Human Services. Marlene sent an email, and Zoraida Diaz said she would decline. The second time I reached out, she declined. I then had a phone call with her, and she said she would run it up the flagpole of management. And then she circled back and declined again. A lot of people were completely shocked at this, including our electeds, and they were CC'd in a follow-up email. And now we're pushing to have the commissioner come out and speak to the board and probably several state electeds and our local city officials. So that's a bit of an update, because we really want to know why so many methadone clinics and counseling centers are being anchored here in this community, and so much that one even said that they were referred to come here. This is a place you can set up shop. That was shocking to all of us, so we are on the chase on that. Other than that, there was a motion number 15, and I will entertain if anyone would like to move on supporting the letter of support for Exodus Transitional Community.
Yeah, motion to support the letter for Exodus Transitional Community.
Villanueva, second.
Okay, so that was Isaac Scott who made the motion, and it was Stephen Villanueva who made the second, correct?
Yes.
All right, then roll call, please.
Arciaga, yes. Arroyo.
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Briha, Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan,
Yes.
Collier.
Abstain.
Okay. Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yeah.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro,
Abstain.
Flores,
Yes. Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Liriano, Mack,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Morris,
Abstain.
Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yeah.
Schuler,
Abstain.
Villanueva Jason,
Abstain.
Villanueva Stephen,
I seconded the motion.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu. Jason?
I said yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Real quick, apologies to Diane Collier and Rakeem Brooks. It did not register your hands raised here. So I'm going to be checking in with Angel since he's the host, because he'll probably see it first, and maybe my connection. So Diane, your question, and then we'll go to Rakeem.
Actually, I believe Jessica responded in the chat. We have been
Okay.
waiting for almost 2 years about the naming of the Richard Toussaint pathway for 132nd Street and 35th Street. So Jessica sent me an email, a text, a chat that just said that he should be resending a response to our letter of inquiry. I do hope that they approve it. We've been waiting for this for a long time from this community.
Yeah.
If I could just
Thank you.
step in, Xavier.
Yes,
I
real
just
quick.
wanted to mention that Steve's email that we have received goes into the funding that has been put into the East River Esplanade as a whole. But despite the question being about Richard Toussaint Park, which you've mentioned, there was no mention of that in his email. But we've been following up every week since we sent the not every week, every couple weeks since we sent the original letter of inquiry, and we will continue to push them. But yes, our project is already funded, so we're just determining what we can do to get more answers about why it hasn't been completed yet.
Thank you very much, Jessica. And going to Rakeem?
Hey, Xavier, thank you. I was just going to say my law firm is actually pursuing representing Sacramento in their opiates litigation against the opiate manufacturers, the Purdue family, and so forth. I think we might want to consider a litigation option with regard to the hyperconcentration of methadone clinics in our community under a public nuisance theory. But in any case, I just wanted to raise it, and I'm happy to consult with whoever's on the Human Services Committee about that.
Wonderful recommendation, Rakeem. I think I'm sure I'm going to see your form as #1 for Human Services.
I think it's #4, but that's okay.
Gosh darn it. No, thank you very much. This is a great recommendation. Thank you. And we'll chat offline after the meeting. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Youth and education. And then next on deck will be land use, landmarks, and planning. So David Giordano.
Have Hello all. Good evening, everyone. Nice to be with the full group again. Missed you. Youth and Education. I want to thank all the members and also Carly that have been very active in ensuring that the work continues during this time of COVID and other times of unrest. So as we continue on, like I mentioned earlier, we do have a resolution to support a resolution in terms of the CDC resolution to remove the police, terminate the police department contract with the school safety. And at this point, we are hoping to also, in full board. Am I not being heard? Or something?
We hear you.
Oh, okay. Sometimes you don't know, everything looks frozen. It's better when you see people.
You never know.
We all see you all moving in contact. So I hope everybody's had time to read the resolution. Again, if there are any questions, I just want to continue. We had presentations, again, things you could read. There were announcements, things you could read. We also, Xavier, something that was also brought up in Parks a week ago and fully discussed out also in executive was the concern around the census and the low turnout that we're having in East Harlem community. I think it's in 40% at this point. And we talked about really accessing the board funds to possibly do other kinds of outreach to access. So we made a motion on that as well to utilize board funds to support outreach and to kind of really get people out to complete the census. It's so important, particularly, you know, for funding for many of these other services and supportive services that are so needed at this time. Anything else special? I really want to highlight some of the work Malik McCullough has been doing, not only on the committee, but also throughout the community. Once again, whenever there's an issue in the community or a particular need, he seems to always raise above it, gets a crew together and really addresses it. So this past Saturday, and maybe he can give us an update later in announcements, he sponsored a bike-a-thon to raise money for the bail fund to support people to get, you know, to be really serviced as human beings and able to receive services at this time to get bail, to get out, and to be part of society again. As we are going through this time of injustice, I've been very active with Children's Aid and also with the committee about how do we address youth. We are trying to plan a youth event in this community. We know right now that it's still very limited in assemblies of bringing kids together. However, 90-degree weather is not going to keep kids inside. So we need to figure out better ways to serve as well. That's pretty much it. The committee's been very active in SYEP. We took a resolution as well. Thank Jason for his work that he's done on that, specifically in writing up that resolution for us and ensuring that we address against the needs. And again, I want to reiterate, SYEP is good, and that's a portion. There's also the part of DYCD, that's the funding for the youth who get to the SYEP. And when there's no SYEP for some youth, they need to be in summer programs and learning other things. So I hope we can actively take a role as the summer unfolds to restore funding. I hope y'all know that right now there's no free middle school program for the summer, for the fall going forward. That's eliminated. Middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That means you're putting kids that are 11, 12, and 13 without support systems in school. So we really need to be more active and also making resolutions to fight that. And again, I need my members also to raise that because again, I run those programs, so it's a conflict of interest for me to really specifically fight for that and looking for members to raise up. If there are any other questions, if not, Xavier, we can do the motions.
Motion to support.
It was, well, hold on. I'm not gonna entertain because the motion we're talking about that was handled at executive under our action items.
Right.
Remember we consolidated that?
That's correct.
But I'm still selling it because again, if we had it in committee the day before, we would have passed it. The resolution presented in executive would have been presented in youth and education, but it was being passed the day after youth and education met by the CEC. For those of you that don't know, and for transparency, I am a CEC 4 member in District 4. CEC, for don't know, is a community education council. It's a representative of 11 parents that live in, that work in the community or kids go to school in the community.
So thank you very much, David. But and I agree with you.
Motion to support. I'm sorry, Xavier. The purchase of face masks and other equipment that we would give out to youth groups and other groups to support. And I think public safety is also supporting
part of that. Yes, exactly. And that's under executive. That's why we combine that to bring those two, to marry those two. And that's where we're going to take it up. Thank you so much for raising, and we will bring that up under executive. And thank you for the report and all of the work that you and the entire team, the call-outs to Malik and everyone on it. Jason, thank you. We're all in this together, and the amount of work we're putting forward, it's going to pay off, but we have to stay in the course. And thank you for your efforts. I just got word that our tireless and Borough President Gail Brewer is on. And so before, I don't know where she gets her energy. I think she's tapped into the universe. So we're gonna circle back to the Borough President's report, and we will take up the action item youth and education. But let's go to Gail Brewer, and then Stephen, you'll be up next after Gail with land use.
Thank you very much. I hate to interrupt, but I really appreciate everything that Board 11 is doing. I'll try to be quick because you've got lots more to discuss. The outdoor cafes are an endless challenge, but I want to just give you a couple of pieces of information that I have. First of all, there was a question, and I want to thank Board 11 because the Uptown Board Town Hall last night was very successful. Hundreds and hundreds of people ask questions in the Q&A and the chat. And to me, that makes it worthwhile. The city agencies were good. You know, they could always be better because I like hard questions and get hard answers, but they definitely gave a lot of information. And of course, the board chairs and vice chairs were excellent in asking them and moderating the Q&A. So, and I liked how you did it because you let the person speak in addition to having their question in the chat room. So just congratulations. And even boards that were not in Uptown, members joined and thought you did a great job. So I just want to say thank you. Obviously what showed is a lot of work is needed. In terms of the outdoor cafes, obviously we're in phase 2. I've been up and down the borough to different cafes and seen what is or isn't working, and we'll have to see. I want to give a couple of facts as I understand them. Number one of the questions last night was good from either a member of the board or the public, which is if you're outdoor, can you use the bathroom of the enterprise? I checked and the answer is yes. It was not clear from the city official last night, but I'm on the governor's recovery. They set the rules and regulations. The answer is yes. Second, there are state liquor authority and restaurants, always a dicey topic. One of the questions from other boards is, what about the stipulations that the community boards have set? Well, then I said, well, what are the stipulations? Well, thank you to Beta NYC, Noel Hidalgo and Emily Goldman and their amazing team. So they now have that list of stipulations. So if you need, let us know, and Isabel and I will get them for you. I believe nobody else in the universe has that list of stipulations, and it might be helpful. Number 3, in terms of the restaurants, I've been asking constantly, so which are the restaurants that have filed to open? And it turns out in New York City, there are 3,141 restaurants that have asked. Bronx 240, Brooklyn 591, Queens 566, Manhattan 141. No surprise, Manhattan 1,603. Almost double, more than double than almost everybody else. And so we obviously are going to have the challenges and the good. So we have to work together. But one thing that is going to be available tomorrow, which I've been asking for, is a listing, a portal, supposedly to go live tomorrow, that lists all the restaurants with permits, maps, searchable, and we will see. But that might be helpful for you to know who is opening in Board 11. And next, number 4, what the city is thinking of doing, I'm using the word thinking of doing because that's what I was told, is a mediation process for restaurants that are having challenges. Now, I know that somebody mentioned, of course, there's restaurants that have challenges, and of course, sometimes the neighborhood can be a challenge, the restaurant can't do well. All of that is supposedly going to be, I would say, decided via oath or an organization which I probably should know, but don't, call JAMS, that I assume does mediation and is doing it pro bono. What I also understand, the word is thinking of, making sure that the community boards, who are the first responders, lack of only word I can use, for all of the complaints. So hopefully you will be very much part of this process, and I hope Angel and his staff, we will push to make sure that you are. So that's in terms of the small portion in terms of the outdoor dining. Number two, this issue of the summer, which David has articulated even better than I have. We've all pushed for the programs that he listed. I've also been pushing for parks to have permits so that the camps that do exist, and we can have a longer discussion about you need to have money for the camps, can at least have a permit. I thought it happened today because friends of mine said they got a permit. Yet when you call the parks department, they say no permits. I have no idea. But just to let you know, we're pushing for permits to be available. As David said, young people are going to be out. They're either going to be on the street or they're going to be in a wonderful program that uses the park in a constructive way. I don't understand why that's so complicated. In terms of housing, you've got great state officials and they will talk, as will the city council. I just want to mention in terms of data, again, working with Beta NYC, we're trying to, we're getting very close. The court system has been really cooperative to get the data so that we know where there is a hotspot in terms of eviction, holdovers, etc. And that's an example where you could say on 116th Street in this block, oh my goodness, without names, without specifics, it looks like there are a lot of people who are dealing with housing challenges. Let's see what we can do to solve them. We need this kind of prevention and not waiting till everybody's in housing court. The other thing in terms of data, because you know how I love it, is the following. And I might have mentioned this last time, but we're getting closer. There is in Holland and the Netherlands, the waste is able to tell us when there is a COVID hotspot. It's amazing how much waste can tell us. We have 14 sewage treatment plants in the city of New York, and obviously we have one in Harlem. The issue is that waste can tell you 6 days in advance who's got COVID, almost down to the block. And yet we are not doing that because we're still waiting to get some equipment, and we want 3 people. We have the lab. Right now we're sending the waste to Stanford in California. That's crazy. It needs to be analyzed real time here in New York, and it could complement whatever the tracers are doing. So I just want to mention that as a data necessity. We are also upset about the organics. I understand the budget cuts. The mayor cut it out of the budget in terms of pickup, but we're pushing to have at least 1 per community board where you could drop off your organics. I just want to point out that if you look at the governor's dashboard, this is why we have to pay a lot of attention to all the things you're saying. There is an uptick in COVID in some of the upstate counties that have opened because people are not doing all the things that they should, and that's no joke. I know that we have a town hall on the census coming up tomorrow at 3:30 with the public library. I heard it mentioned earlier in terms of the challenging percentage of fill out. So we're working on that. But in addition, we have now, again, data, identified every single census tract with a low turnout. And whether with mail, postcards, calling, we are going to focus on those low turnout census tracts very, very specifically. And we'll hopefully manage to get them up. This is very, very serious stuff. I know we're all getting fireworks complaints. We've gotten tons of them, and we are working. I know that the mayor has just appointed a task force, and you know that Macy's is doing their own fireworks, the real ones. They're doing one in an undisclosed location per borough, and then it'll all be virtual on July 4th. I don't know how that's all going to work, but that's what I hope people can tell the difference between. I can't, but we'll see what happens. So the schools, I think we need to keep focusing on them because my understanding is only 49% of that building can be, any building, can be, include children. And that's going to leave a lot of children out of the school. And I have to say, in my experience, it wasn't great in terms of virtual. So what in the world is it going to look like in the fall? We obviously need, as David suggested, a social worker, full-time, culturally appropriate at every single school. We need that social worker in September more than ever. Because if we're going to have 3 shifts, or we're going to have 1 week on and 2 weeks off, I don't know what it's going to be. And these, by the way, if you do 3 shifts, as my friend who was a custodian said, you're going to have to sanitize it and clean it 3 times a day. So these are huge issues that have not been in any way discussed with parents or in any specifics. Finally, in terms of Black Lives Matter, I want to congratulate the protesters. I want to congratulate everyone, because lots of good is coming out of that. And just in terms of Manhattan and painting, we are doing 2. One is, they're both going to start July 1st, if all goes well, 1,000 phone calls later. The one that we're doing downtown is going to be around Foley and Foley Square, but also right near the African burial ground. And that's with professional artists who are being paid. It's with a group called blackspace.com and Black Lives Matter New York. It's going to start July 1st. And then the other one is also a phenomenal group of Harlemites who are doing it on Adam Clayton Powell between 125 and 127. And that too is going to start July 1st. And they're both supposed to be done on July 4th. So just to let you know, and that's my report. Much more going on, but I'm deeply appreciative of everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gail. We're deeply appreciative of everything you do, and you lead a great charge for this this borough. Thank you. I have a couple questions. I have Angel, I know, had one, and then Andrew Padilla, I believe, had his hand raised. So Angel, your question real quick, and then Andrew.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, Angel.
I mentioned earlier your letter to the governor in regards to community board meetings. Have you heard anything back concrete from the governor?
No, but I will follow up. I'm glad you mentioned. Yep, in terms of the open meeting law. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrew?
Well, Angel took the question right out of my mouth. I was going to ask what Gail's understanding was of what we could and could not do over the summer, and what she thought us on the community board side could be doing to try and push. Because I know a lot of members that do want to get work done through the summer, especially given the crisis we're in. So that was the first, and then I had a quick second. If there's anything else you have to add.
No, I mean, I would love that. I believe the pandemic, you know, number 1, health, number 2, all the challenges around community police and racism, and number 3, economic. I was on the phone today with some business and some labor people, and if you peel back that onion, it is really, you know, I hate to say, people are nervous that we could end up like a city that is not doing well at all. And so I think you need to work all summer. I don't know how else to say it. This is really, really tough stuff.
Okay,
I completely agree, and I think it's nerve-wracking for all of us. The second quick question was just regarding waste monitoring for COVID spikes. I have heard about this and read about this being done in other countries. Is there anything that you think the CV should do on this in the few more days that we could virtually meet, or is this just something that you and others are pushing for, and you don't really see a way the CV could involve itself?
No, I think you could definitely involve yourself, and we will make sure that you get all the material that we have so far. The issue is to buy some, just moving some money at the agency to buy the equipment, hiring 3 people that have already been vetted, and of course OMB is a little challenging because there's a freeze on the hiring. But I think more importantly, you know, if that happens, and I think it will, then you need to have people understanding what it is that we're analyzing, and then you could have some input, you know, perhaps having people come from DEP and other experts. Believe me, there are lots of experts on this topic. I've been on several Zoom discussions, and if you're, you know, like I can tell, you're nuts like me and you like this kind of super, you know, nuanced policy stuff, it's very interesting. And as I understand it, it can literally, if done correctly, tell you about any new virus. They can literally tell the difference between something like 30 different viruses just by our waste.
Thank you very much, Gail, and thank you, Andrew. I have one more hand raised, David Giordano.
You know, I can't reiterate as well as Gail just said with the DOE, and I want to be fair to DOE. I think they got hit harder. I think somehow other private schools may have been a little bit prepared, Catholic schools and maybe some of the charter for this COVID and how the remote learning, but we're in a real desperate time. We're going to need many social workers in school. Kids are experiencing trauma. My second grader, only about a third to 10 kids get on in the class out of 20-something kids. Where are these other kids not going to catch up? And everybody's saying, oh, that we're going to create to catch up. We haven't been able to have DOE catch up kids in a normal day and times. So how are we going to catch up for kids that haven't been in any school? The other big thing is they said about 1/5 will go to summer school. And you don't, if you go to summer school, you won't get left back. Well, most of the kids that are not getting on now, those ones that are designated to go to summer school, and if they don't get on now, and they can't get on in summer school, then they're getting left back. But again, when you then reintegrate these kids all together in school, and some have been participating and some have not, you know, the gap becomes wider. And I think that in different communities, you see what resources are available and not. So I mean, I don't want to beat up DOE because I'm trying to really support and help them out. They're all trying to learn what's best. In my 3K with DOE, man, they've done such a great job and they're running that kids engaging, and the remote learning has evolved in a few months. So I have confidence that we can get it. But right now, Gail, we don't know what kind of hybrid model of AB days, AB weeks. You can't bring kids in and out back and forth all day long because you can't manage that. So there's going to have to be half here, half not. And how they're going to work that out, they're trying to figure it out during the summer. So I think we should support them in that process. You know, and just this last week, Class Size Matters in New York City Pack Kids did a 2-hour conference. I did the part of after school and how essential and critical after school is in the continuum of the education of the child, as well as the social emotional learning. And I don't mean to preach, but we ain't gonna see y'all for a couple of months. And DOE will already started and passed. I am gonna applaud to the committee, since we overlap my committee back and forth, Gail, so I'm squeezing you in between, is that we need to meet next month and really conduct a legal business meeting on Zoom or live so that we are ensuring that we take position on some of these things going forward. So I'll be quiet from that point on forward. Thank you, Gail.
I agree 100%. 100%.
You know, the trauma is going to be crazy with kids.
I think you need to meet all summer. I hate to tell you.
I agree, Gail. I think we need to develop a subcommittee. And so I hear Gail's approval to do that. So we'll work on that.
Tacit approval. Very good. Thank you, David. I think we have one more question from Stephen Villanueva. Stephen?
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
For the update, I sincerely appreciate it. I just had a question regarding children with special needs that have IEPs. The remote learning impacts we know across the board for children in schools has been a significant shift. There's also children that require throughout the school day therapies such as physical, occupational, speech, and counseling, many of which are taking a hardship due to the remote aspect of it. Parents are taking on a lot of these responsibilities. Do you have any updates on what it would look like in a special needs learning environment?
Oh, I 100% agree. We're trying in a small way this summer. Like David said, there's 178,000 kids supposed to go citywide to summer school. And I would, if in fact, and many of them IEP, and if they have, I'm sorry, as challenging experience, I'm trying to be nice, as they did during the year, it's not going to help them during the summer. My understanding is that in some cases, and that the young people with IEPs can do some one-on-ones in person because they're not going to get much out of a summer school any other way. I do think that we need just a ton of figuring out if those kids, in my opinion, should get some special support and more time in the school to be part of that 49% for as much of the school day as they can, because nothing is going to happen at home. And I don't even understand how you could think of anything else. There is some push to try to get other spaces. I know CEC5 is looking at that, you know, in libraries or elsewhere where there could be other space that you could up the 49%. Because apparently the schools, even using the principal's offices, don't have more space than possible 49% to put into a school in terms of the safety issues. So, I mean, IEPs are very much on my mind, and I think on others. It was a terrible year, semester for anybody or most young people with an IEP. So your question is apropos. I don't have great answers except we have to keep pushing for those young people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Gail. It is approximately 8:42, and I know we had 2 more hands raised. So I'd like to call on Ray Biggs and then Nye Whitaker, and then we can let you continue being everywhere at once, Gail.
I'm fine, Xavier. I already did 3 boards.
I know. All right, Ray, you're up.
Is it possible to designate special needs kids as, or the department in the schools as essential to where it's a requirement to have that space available for them to where it doesn't go away? Because a lot of their classrooms are already set up to meet those needs because of the setups.
Yes, thank you for suggesting that, Ray. I will do the same. That's a very interesting, and we should bring it up at the CEC, David, too. Thank you.
They're trying to bring special needs kids in because of the other supportive service that Stephen was saying. But they've also noticed that some of the supportive services online has been beneficial as well in helping the family help learn to manage the kids in other ways. So I think we're learning how we can positively learn this virtual world to support our work as well when we're not always in front of a child or in front of telehealth as we're doing with our prevention specialists. So I think we have a lot of time, a lot to learn from this period and to make adjustments as we go forward. Sorry. Thanks, Gail. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, David, for the comment. Nye?
I just had a quick question, considering that today is the New York primary. I've just been reading all over the news on social media and receiving calls from people who were very confused about the process, who didn't receive their ballots, who got ballots without envelopes to return them in, who then had to go, in person. And so I just didn't know, Gail, if you could just reflect on some of the stuff you might have heard for today and give us any sort of update, because people are still very, very concerned as to whether or not their votes are going to count, and particularly in a community like ours, where people feel disenfranchised already. I'm just very concerned about how we support our seniors, those who may be suffering from COVID, and others, to keep them civically engaged.
I got everything. People only got 1 page instead of 2. That's a challenge. And then the signage, you had to walk, they're older, they had to walk all the way around to get to the building because the entrance was the wrong address. And absentee ballots, I got mine, my husband did not. I could go on and on. So I mean, I'm putting the list that we have over to the Board of Elections. I think we just have to see how it all plays out. I mean, it doesn't matter what neighborhood. It's challenging. How about that? I'm trying to be nice. I don't think it was the post office. Maybe it was the post office. I don't know who it was. I know that everybody, apparently, lots of people, I was just trying to go with the process, so I stuck it in the envelope. But anybody who did it online, requested the ballot online, got it. Very interesting. But those of us who did it in the mail, or maybe that is the post office, but I don't know. Yes, the list is long. I just hope it's not messed up for November. So we're all trying to fix the problems so that people can vote in November. It is a real challenge. I'll leave it at that right now. Yes, every problem I got.
Thank you very much, Nye. Thank you, Gail. One comment on that. We requested our absentee ballots and we did it electronically online. It took 4 days for them to process, and this started from June 1st. And then it went to 4 days. 4 days just for them at the Board of Elections to actually process it.
Oh my God.
Before they actually cleared it. So it went in on Monday, 4 days on the Thursday, they submitted all of the approvals to their vendor who actually does the mailing. And the mailing then took another full calendar week. So that's a lag time, I think, that is unacceptable. But that's just some information to share with you. I've talked to multiple people on that. One other thing, if any way we can get the governor to extend the EO for New York City, especially since many of our volunteers are within the high risk categories and have been able to actually engage because of the executive order with open meetings law. And I think also too, many of the people who want to be engaged within our community, which has a high senior count and people who are very active, they're not going to turn up in person, but they have been turning up online. So this is any way we can push that issue. So thank you very much. If there are no further questions, I want to tell you thank you for your service and everything you do. And hopefully we'll be able to get an action going for this summer, because we have a lot of community board members who want to do the work. Thank you. Okay, with that, that is our president's report. Thank you very much. We're going to pivot back to land use, landmarks, and planning. Stephen Villanueva.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Shout out to Community Board 11. I appreciate you all throughout these difficult months. It's been wonderful to be able to lean on you guys for support and, just a general oversight and how to manage these things as a collective. These meetings have been extremely challenging, but there's been some wonderful takeaways. We had increased participation over the last 2 meetings. We've had consistent attendance and quorum, and people stay right to the end. It's been very participatory, and I appreciate everybody's levels of commitment. Due to the suspension of the ULERP process, we had no action items that we needed to take motions on. We utilized these last 2 months to continue ongoing discussions about development that's slated to occur, particularly along the 125th Street corridor, development that has yet to occur, and development that's in progress. This is an ongoing narrative that we want to follow in terms of having developers and presenters that have made commitments to the community board and the community at large in the past, bringing them back and getting follow-up from them as well. We're also making it a habit to have as of right applicants that are developing within our district come and discuss what they're building in front of the committee and the community. There's a myriad of reasons why. One is to identify who's building in our district, what kind of property managers they're bringing on board. When given incentives that are considered as of right, such as voluntary inclusionary housing applications, looking at what the unit mixes are. Our committee and the board has significantly been advocating for deeper levels of affordability. We wanted to make sure that statement was echoed in our budget responses. So we made sure that was listed in our budget responses, especially during the COVID crisis. We don't want to see funding cuts hurt us in the subsidies that come from deeper levels of affordability. Additionally, we continue to advocate for larger unit sizes in these affordability mixes. We'll continue to echo that as well. The preservation of public space and the creation of new public space has been a focal point thanks to the participation of our Parks Chair, Jessica Elliott. We are going to continue our discussion about 125th in general as part of an ongoing dialogue on the big picture, how all of this development within the district affects, the context of the community itself. So it's an ongoing dialogue. I encourage everybody to participate. Any heavy topics that we discuss, those that go beyond just one single meeting and conversation, we don't want to set them and forget them. We've developed a series of Google documents where members of the committee are welcome to just, add it as a virtual think tank, and we can continue this dialogue for the next meeting cycle. Just wanted to give you a couple of other updates real quick, guys. In terms of specific projects, there's something called the Las Raíces project, which is basically HPD's answer to smaller lots and cluster sites where they've clustered, let's say, about 5 development sites, publicly owned land that they have pointed out for the development of affordable, 100% affordable housing. So we've heard from, community stakeholders. We've had an opportunity to really have these discussions at length in the pre-ULERP phase to really inform any responses we may have when the time comes for the disposition of any public land or any ULERP action. So just keep your this for what comes down the pike. In terms of big picture items as well, the Harlem East Harlem is one of the last remaining urban renewal plans that was set to expire December of this year. The city is looking to have it renew for approximately 40 years. So what we've tasked our committee with is to mine the existing urban renewal plan, really dissect some of the sites that they've listed in urban renewal. So there's like really 5 key points to urban renewal in itself. It's really about, demolition, acquisition of land, being able to take property for the quote unquote betterment of the public good. So we really wanted to mine that document that's decades old and look at its applicability today, and also make sure that we make as many recommendations as possible to ensure that the plan in itself being renewed doesn't cause any negative consequences to our community. Lastly, we had a developer that has some significant plots of land on the east side of Park and the west side of Park along 125th. They came to give us an ongoing update about a transit easement they're working out with the MTA. I wanted to make a note that the fact that the developer, without having any conclusive plans and more of a generalized overview, was seeking full support for the project. As a committee, we definitely squashed that. We want to make sure that any developer or presenter that comes before us in our district makes community concessions a priority before they even ask for any support. So we'll keep you guys posted. That's all I have. The remainder of the minutes are submitted for information purposes only. Many thanks to Denny Lynn Arciaga for taking care of those minutes.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Stephen? Okay, don't see any hands up. All right, thank you very much, Stephen, and thank you for the work y'all are doing.
No problem.
Moving on, we're going to go to district needs and budget, and Jason Villanueva.
Good evening, team. I hope everybody is well. God bless. It's good to see some of you, though your screens are black. We miss you over here at the SDN and Budget Committee. So moving right along, we did a lot of work, since the pandemic hit. We've done a lot of work before the pandemic hit as it relates to the statement of district needs and budget in retrospect to allocations and funding, not only for our district, but I have to say I love the fact within the last 60 to 90 days, the peak interest of civil service as it relates to the budget and advocacy for some. I was sitting here and I was writing down some thoughts, and in particular, if you think about our 12-month cycle, we spent 4 months advising the elected officials, the administrative agencies, and the CBOs of what we need for our district. We spend 4 months advocating, right, going back and forth to the adopted budget, from the initial budget to the executive budget to what's going to come out soon, which will be the adopted budget, post negotiations with City Council. And most importantly, we act, right? We perform action. And I have to say, within the last 60 days, in particular with this board, across all committees, I have seen more action in the year of 2020 than I have since I've been on the board. And that's going back to 2016. I've seen more resolutions and more letters of support, and even, for lack of a better term, statements on the budget that have went out from this group that I have to commend and show much appreciation to all our membership, both old and new, because a lot of you new members came on board and hit the ground running with information. So, with that said, I would like to pretty much just address, everyone knows about some of the outcry, in particular with NYPD. Our committee last month passed a statement in particular to that. And right now we're working on, working with the local officials and CBOs, one in particular, which was CPR, that presented to the committee this month in conjunction with the controller's office. And, they showed us a plan, and it was a great plan. The controller's office ideology and structure was really focus driven on how we can get those funds reallocated, right? And then more, in my opinion, as an advocate, and, like I consider myself a social activist, the CPR organization that presented on budget justice gave us the timeline. So you had the plan, you had the math, you had the science, and now to me, it's just a matter of art form for us to present to our local officials so they can, more importantly, push what the community is looking forward to And that's taking some of these funds from the NYPD and reallocating those funds to social services, right? It's okay to cut SYEP program and put 75,000 kids without jobs, but I want to hire a whole new a branch of police force in the middle of a pandemic, and anywhere from a 50 to 75% reduction in employment. So it's real hard for me to see that why we need more cops as opposed to more social justice and reasoning for our people. So with that said, we have two motions that went on the table that passed unanimously. One was for was to allocate our funds as a community impact initiative, which we put our $500 fund towards the robocall. That passed unanimously. That happened in our June meeting. We tallied some of those funds also with Environmental and Open Space. Forgive me, the old name was the Parks Committee. And we brought that fund up to $1,000. We had that discussion about it at executive committee, and it was already voted and passed. I know Xavier is going to bring that up during the executive portion. So what came straight out of SDN, which is the motion that is in front of you, right? Which was made by Andrew, in particular to consolidating both efforts, the financial structure breakdown that came from the comptroller's office and the timeline, right? We don't want to wait 4 years. We don't want to wait 10 years. This is as some of you are seeing in the chat, this is, one thing I learned from the borough's president's office, Gail, I got to recommend to everybody take those leadership trainings. One of the reasons why I not only joined this committee, but assisted in the efforts of creating it with the bylaws was the fact of learning that, community boards only get like 0.001% of the budget of New York City, of $86 billion as a number. Yet $86 billion is the third highest budget in the nation in comparison to the 50 states. I learned that in the borough president's office during the great leadership trainings that they sent out. Some of you probably just got those notices. I recommend you hop on it. I know I'm going on advanced land use, though I'm a project executive in construction management, just to see how much more information I could get. So with that said, I would like to, most of the meeting minutes is for informational purposes. You guys have questions, concerns. Those of you that know me have my number. Those of you that don't, 646-342-5026. We can have a lot of conversations offline, not only addressing the statement of district needs and budgets of how it's going to affect fiscal year 2022, but we can also talk as I'm your treasurer for the board. I just want to leave the last note, like the borough president said, SDN don't sleep over the summer. We don't take months off. District consultations come July, August. We're sitting with the administrative agencies. We're meeting, the board has been more active in the SDN process, as I said, in the last 12 months since I've been a member. And it's exciting. And, with those of you that are onboarding, as well as those of you already on board that want to change their committee, SDN got space for you. And, if you're not on the committee, you're more than welcome to volunteer and get involved. Because these district consultations are important for us to understand from the administrative agencies and as to why they're not getting the funding from OMB, the mayor, or for whatever other bureaucratical red tape reason, right? These people work for us. We put them in office. So we need to be present, just as it's been expressed to you a lot today from a lot of the local officials, as to ensuring that we challenge these causes. And by doing that, I say we advocate and act. And what's in front of you right now is an action. We're presenting to say, cut NYPD $1 billion. We already have a statement of district needs, our statement on the budget that says where to put that money at, which is youth and education, housing, and environmental open space, and particularly the Esplanade and the pier. You're telling me you can't give us $20 million to fix that pier before the FDR drops while everybody's driving on it? But we could spend $400 million on helicopters. So I hope you had the time to read the letter of support, as well as the supporting documents from both the comptroller's office and Budget Justice. And I give it to you, Xavier, for the vote.
Thank you very much, Jason. I am so glad to see this come before our our body. And thank you for all the work that we've been doing together on statement of district needs and budget. So we have number 16, a motion was made by Andrew Padilla to support the comptroller's recommendations to cut NYPD funding by $1 billion with the amendment to
V, I don't have
implement
a motion to support.
the full.
There's
Let me finish.
there's a hand
Hold on.
there's a hand raised.
Okay, thank you very much. They don't always register here. Rakeem?
Thanks. I just had a question for Jason, so, or maybe for everyone. So is this us supporting the comptroller's recommendations as opposed to any other proposals that might be made or come to bear? I just worry that if there are other presentations that get made that are better than this or have been made that are better than this.
We'll take an action at that time. As I stated earlier, and we definitely could talk offline. This is in particular to a structure and a framework that's been presented to date that we can act upon, right? I'm all for the advocacy and advisement. And if you find something else that we can act upon, district needs is open.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions, then to finish up, to implement the full cut in fiscal year 2021, the motion was seconded by John Green, passed unanimously. Do I have a motion?
Motion to support by Jessica Elliott.
So Jessica Elliott, do I have a second?
Yes.
I heard Villanueva. Stephen, was that you? And then I heard.
Yes, it was.
Okay, roll call, please.
Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan,
Yes.
Collier,
Abstain.
Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Febraro, Judith, Flores.
I'm sorry, abstain.
Okay, thank you, Judith. Flores,
Abstain.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia, Hume,
Yes.
Liriano,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yeah.
Schuler, Villanueva Jason,
Sorry, yes.
Villanueva Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving on. Economic development and culture. Melanie Farr.
Melanie Farah, hi. Thank you, everyone. So I wanted to just start by thanking everyone on the Economic Development and Culture Committee, especially pulled together to work to support the small businesses in our community during the pandemic, in light of their concerns for sustainability and staying open. And I appreciate your work, and we are especially appreciative specifically of the external support we received from Michelle Cruz, who is now with Councilmember Ayala's office, and Carrie King with Uptown Grand Central, and many other players who help support connectivity and outreach to make sure the small business owners in our community were heard. During our meeting, There were no particular action items, but we were able to hear a report on the closeout of the last grant for the Neighborhood 360 program and the plans for the future of the Neighborhood 360 program beginning in September 2020. We discussed as a committee our accomplishments during the 2019 and 2020 session and began to identify goals beginning for September 2020. We were also, we also heard from Councilmember Ayala, who we were very happy to have on our call, as she was able to recap the potential forthcoming funding through union settlement in cooperation with EDC, specifically for small businesses in East Harlem. Finally, we had initially planned a virtual small business event for June 30, 2020, but elected to push the date further out to ensure that small businesses continued to feel supported through the summer. So always welcome to have new members join the Economic Development and Culture Committee, but always like to give a heads up that we are very much a working committee. And we will continue to find ways to meet throughout the summer to continue to plan and support both the culture and the small businesses in our community. Finally, we agreed to allocate our funding, and we are thankful to the chair of land use and the land use committee for lending their CCII funding so that we could begin to work to provide provide signage to small businesses in our community to show our support as CB11 and to elevate the awareness of CB11 as a partner and supporter of small businesses in El Barrio in East Harlem. And we did begin the meeting with a reflection on culture, encouraging all of the members of the committee to make sure that they fully educated themselves on the history of Juneteenth as New York State and New York City moves forward to embrace this long celebrated holiday in the Black and African American communities. We encouraged all of our committee members to learn more about the history in an effort to make sure that celebrations and their workplace, in their communities, and in their workplace, in the communities, and in their homes accurately reflects the history of enslaved peoples in the United States, especially pushing back against the incomplete notion that enslaved peoples just didn't hear the message about freedom because they were waiting for the information, but more so information was kept from them in an effort to earn more money from crops. So that is a summation of our meeting, and we move forward in the executive committee, a motion in regards to the movement of our funding. And thank you everyone who participated in our committee for this year. We look forward to having you back next year. And finally, don't want to forget, very special thank you to our Vice Chair, Marissa Mack, who made sure and was able to bring during our year small and local banks to our meeting to make sure that they were aware. So that was Marissa Mack along with Adembria. They worked to make sure that everyone was aware of the challenges with PPP funding and the flexibility that local and small banks have in modifying their application process to support small businesses. So special thank you to them because your support and cooperation with external actors really helped make sure that more people were able to access funding in the second round. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie, and thank you, Marissa, Adam, and everyone who came together to make that happen. The amount of time spent to make sure that people got the message was incredible. And thank you for your efforts, the passion, and the drive. So thank you for coming together on that team and for your report. Are there any questions for Melanie? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So thank you very much. I'm going to move on to executive. Real quick, Nilsa was not able to get a report in this month, but we do have these action items that were voted on. Again, keep her in your prayers. We're going to bundle these. I'm just going to cover them. These I was really proud to see all the committees come together and voting and sending this to executive, so these requests could be merged and uniting our funds. So number 17 is a motion for the board to allocate $1,000 on the recommendation of the Youth and Education and Public Safety Transportation Committees to purchase and distribute PPE to the youth in East Harlem. It was made by Jason Villanueva and seconded by Xavier Santiago. The motion passed unanimously. Number 18 was another motion for the board to allocate $1,000 on the recommendation of District Needs and Budget and Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee. The CB11 outreach effort is to promote the participation of East Harlem residents in the 2020 United States Census. It was made by Jessica Elliott and seconded by Denelyn Arciaga. The motion passed unanimously, and we also have identified a vendor that is registered with the city, so that has been updated. Number 19 was a motion for the board to allocate $1,000 on the recommendation of EcoDev and Culture and Land Use, Land Parks and Planning Committees to fund the printing of posters for marketing the reopening of small businesses in East Harlem post-COVID-19. It was made by Jason Villanueva, seconded by David Giordano, and passed unanimously. Number 20, a motion for the board to allocate $1,000 to Uptown Grand Central in support of the proposed open street along Park Avenue. The funds will be utilized to pay for maintenance and security along the proposed open streets route. It was made by David Giordano and seconded by Melanie Farr and passed with one present not voting, Jason Villanueva. 21 was a motion to support the Community Education Council District 4, CEC4, resolution to terminate NYPD contract and return the Division of School Safety to the NYC Department of Education. It was made by Stephen Villanueva and seconded by Jessica Elliott. The motion passed with one abstention, Judith Fabero, and one present not voting, Jeremiah Schlottman. Number 22 was a renewal application for L'Artasio LLC, doing business as Da Capo, for a full liquor license. It's located on 1392 Madison Avenue in New York, New York. The cross street is 97th Street. Motion was to approve was Jason Villanueva, seconded by Denelyn Arciaga, passed unanimously. Number 23 was Uni NYC LLC, doing business as Trioto, renewal application for a full liquor license, and it's located at 1410 Madison Avenue and the cross street is 98th Street. Motion to approve by Stephen Villanueva, seconded by Jason Villanueva, and passed unanimously. Huh?
I need to inspect though.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Who's speaking? Okay, I'm going to move on. Number 24, finally, our final one is number 24. It was a motion that was made by Stephen Villanueva to approve a resolution calling for the cancellation of rent payments, mortgage payments, and utility payments in New York during the COVID-19 pandemic. The motion was seconded by Jessica Elliott and passed unanimously. I have Jeremiah on, and he talked about this in housing. If you could just button this up. And then I do see that we have a hand raised by Diane Collier. I'll come back to that hand as soon as Jeremiah quickly kind of closes out his comments on this, and Elsie has just popped up. So Jeremiah, are you on?
I am here, Xavier.
Okay, if you could
Hi. All right, so yeah.
Just close out what you discussed in housing, please.
Sure, so what I briefly outlined when I was giving the report on Housing Committee is this resolution that was adopted in executive committee. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to be able to call a special housing committee meeting for my committee to pass this resolution itself. However, we did discuss this resolution at 2 housing committee meetings in both May and June, and we also had a virtual housing forum on May 27th, 2020, attended by various politicians, Borough President, Assemblymember Rodriguez, Senator Serrano, Councilmember Ayala, several other agencies. And we were able to talk a lot about different legislative proposals that have been put forth by politicians. And we have discussed whether they go far enough to meet the need of tenants during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are a lot of proposals that I agree would be beneficial to tenants. And I would be happy to answer any questions if anyone has questions about what those proposals are. There are some, sort of quote unquote middle of the road proposals. But after evaluating all of those, I got a lot of input from my housing committee, and then we were able to vote on it in executive. It appears that the only real true solution that will provide true relief to those New Yorkers that most need it in our district and across the state is for there to be a complete forgiveness, a cancellation of all rent payments during the COVID-19 pandemic and 90 days after declaration of the end of the state of emergency, as well as a mortgage payment for small homeowners, small landlords, and nonprofit landlords, and then a cancellation of all utility payments. And we believe that that's the only way that will properly allocate the financial burden that everyone is facing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Historically, our governments have been quick to give tax relief and bailouts to large corporate actors and big banks, and have left those most affected by the crises who are not responsible for that crisis, but they're most affected. Those are the folks that get passed over for the assistance traditionally, because those who can accede to power are those who get the bailout. So we're calling for a complete and total cancellation of the things I just laid out during the pandemic. I also lay out in my recital clauses, the whereas clauses, a lot of our foundation for why we believe that is the only solution, okay? And has to do, with homelessness, unemployment, rates of infection, all of that. We are vastly more affected in East Harlem and other communities of color. So this is a call to do the right thing, the only thing that will provide complete and true relief. So we're calling on New York to act quickly and to not give half-hearted, halfway measures that don't address the root of the problem and provide true relief. So with that, you all have the resolution in front of you. I'm sure many of you read it. I would be happy to answer any questions. The one caveat I would give is that it was suggested during executive committee that we add citations to the resolution. So we're not going to alter any of the substance of the resolution, but I will quickly add in citations to all of the whereas clauses to provide support, footnoted support for our position. Okay, so thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jeremiah. Now I have some hands raised real quick. I had Diane Collier first, then Elsie, and then Nye. So Diane?
So I have a question for Jeremiah. Small landlords would be devastated with people not paying rent. What other have you guys talked about? Tax relief, the impact of insurances, payments of tax payments which are due. These are all things that impact a small landlord, which in essence are small businesses. So I do have some issues with the language here. So I just wanted to know if that was ever brought up during the conversation. That's my first question. My other question has something to do with with item 19, Xavier.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll come back to item 19. Jeremiah, would you just please address that question, and we'll go to item 19. Thank you.
Yeah, so with regard to the question regarding tax relief for small landlords, I think in our resolution, we did discuss a lot of different measures because financial hardship during the COVID-19 pandemic means that there are many bills that cannot get paid. If there's no income, a lot of folks not only will be difficult to pay their mortgages, but it could also be impossible to pay your taxes. And I understand that to be the concern, if I understand the question correctly. I will say that I do not think that tax relief in lieu of mortgage forgiveness for small landlords is a solution or a complete solution. I think it's actually far less than what they need, what they would get through mortgage forgiveness. However, if your point is that the resolution doesn't go far enough to be able to assist small landlords, because a more complete solution would be not only forgiveness of rent or mortgage payments, but also tax relief for those that experience, for that time period during the pandemic. If that's your point, then I am happy to entertain, a friendly amendment. I actually would think that would be a fair point to talk about a more complete relief. But I wouldn't think that in lieu of mortgage forgiveness, I don't think that it would be effective enough for small landlords.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Jeremiah, for your response. You had a question on number 19. Can we take the slides back to number 19, please? And that was a motion for the board to allocate $1,000 in the recommendation of Economic Development, Culture, and Land Use and Land Parks and Planning Committees to fund the printing of posters. What was your question, Diane?
So it's a point of clarification. What CBO is going to get this $1,000? It says to fund it. Or are we going to print up the posters and are we going to deliver it?
Okay. So,
clarification.
Angel?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, Steve, is that Steve, Jason?
Jason.
Yeah.
So Diane, we were told that the vendor has already been used by the office, and the plan is then for a volunteer effort with economic development. If you want to ask specific as to how their economic development is going to get that done, then I defer to Melanie.
So to understand your question, Diane, was what vendor we were going to use, correct?
So my issue is, so it is going to be a board initiative that there will be members of the board who will distribute these postings. I'm trying to get clarification on it.
Xavier, Mike, if I may, it's Angel.
Yes, please, Angel.
So to your question, Diane, yes, it's board funds. The board is going to purchase, and members of the board are going to volunteer to distribute.
Okay, that's what I needed clarification on. And back to Jeremiah, yeah, my opinion is that Jeremiah, it doesn't go far enough, particularly for small landlords in this community who also do provide affordable housing, and any cancellation of rent is going to impact them tremendously. So for that reason, I will abstain on that.
Yeah, I mean, if I could speak to the concern really quickly, just really quickly, just to see if this changes your opinion at all. I respect what you're saying, Diane, because that's actually very important. And I think that, again, if the point is it's not far enough, which is what you said it is, then I'm happy, I'm on board with that. I would be happy to entertain a friendly amendment in order to make this more ample, that our demands, the resolution, the therefore resolved clauses includes tax relief as well. The cancellation of rent, I think that's sort of the point of the cancel rent campaign, is we want universal cancellation of rent for tenants. However, we understand that certain landlords, small landlords, the so-called mom and pops landlords, could be disproportionately affected by the cancellation of rents, which is why the cancel rent campaign goes so far as to also, in our resolution, calls for also the forgiveness of mortgages for small landlords, so that those who depend on rent income to pay their mortgage, which is the vast majority of those mom and pop landlords, they wouldn't have to worry about adverse consequences for them. And then furthermore, we can also expand it, again, to include tax relief for those exact same actors that we're talking about in our resolution.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeremiah. I'm going to move on now, and hopefully that satisfied an answer for your question, because we have, there's Elsie, and do you have a follow-up, Diane? Because
I do not have a follow-up on this. I see Jason had sent that the resolution should not be a landlord bailout, which is not what I was talking about. But yes, we need to do something for small mom and pop landlords in our community, because we do have them. We do have them.
Yes, that's then very much agreed. So I'm going to
So
move
we
on.
need to do a separate resolution, goes back to housing, then we do that rather than take it up all night. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't go far enough. So therefore, I personally will be abstaining.
Okay, thank you very much, Diane. Elsie. Elsie, you had a question? You're muted. Okay, we will come back to Elsie. Nye?
I didn't hear you calling me. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Elsie, you're there. Okay.
Yes, I am. I had a question about, similar to Diane's question, but about the PPE. I just wanted some more clarification about what the plan was in terms of distribution to you. So maybe if someone just can put me on.
I'll answer that. Same exact situation that was expressed about economic development, youth and education, in conjunction with, I believe it's Parks.
Public safety.
Public safety is going to purchase PPE in particular, you know, to what's recommended by CDC as it relates to COVID-19, and it's going to be a volunteer effort. You got, as you know, I'm all about getting the people on the streets and assisting. So, and it's going to be first come, first serves in the sense of what we can purchase and what we'll hand out.
Okay. Elsie, did that answer your question?
Yep. And then just a follow-up question in terms of the PPE
Sure.
and also the posters, just in terms of getting feedback or an update on how much we were able to purchase with that. I don't know if that was done beforehand or if we'll know after, and how many posters we were able to do, if that was just like an arbitrary number.
Just a boilerplate answer, Elsie, not only to that, to any fund and monies that are used from the board, in particular for sponsorship and or impact initiatives, it is a requirement for the chair of that committee to provide a 250 word essay describing the event, photographs of the event, and we will have to provide a detailed budget breakdown of the funds that were used, not only in response to those of you guys that are interested as board members, I'm all for it, but also to OMB, who will audit us on the finances that are used.
Okay,
Gracias.
thank you. Thank you very much. And finally, Nye. Oh, and then I see Yolanda real quick.
Yeah,
So Nye.
Mine wasn't about any of these. It was just re-raising my question from earlier, since I saw number 23 on the screen. So I don't know if we're going to talk about that or moved away from that already.
So if I understand your previous question real quick, that there were complaints of serving on the sidewalk and obstructing disabled patients, trying to get to Sinai during the closing of the pandemic, and wondering if those complaints would get registered with CB11 by now, 311 complaints.
Right.
Angel.
You or approve any licenses, because I do know that there was an issue with the restaurant listed in number 23. So.
I mean, there was an issue brought up, Xavier, at executive, and we voted on it. Is there a specific issue?
It was just a point of clarification, which is, what is the time frame from which a complaint is made to 311 about any of the restaurants or any issues before we as CB11 find out about it in order to make our decisions about licensing and permit approvals? That's the question.
Right. So the question for Angel is, what is the timeline from when a complaint comes in? When does it land at licenses and permits? Do you know what that timeline is, Angel?
So when the community board is reviewing any applications, the committee looks at the last 2 years of 311 complaints for that location. So if the question is, if someone put in a complaint a month ago, are we notified when that complaint comes in? We are not.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you. And Yolanda Brown.
Hi. Thank you so much. My question has to deal with the rent cancellation. And I too have concerns about some landlords, in that all landlords are not villains and they are part of our community. But let's take it a step further. Are there any mechanism in place to determine the need for the cancellation, or are we proposing just a blanket cancellation for everyone?
This is a blanket cancellation for everyone. We reject means-tested sort of analyses in order to get rent relief, because, for example, the analogous argument is public education. We don't shut down public education entirely just because there are some rich parents who decide to send their kids to free public school, right? That is still a commodity that should be public, which should be free. But we also believe that the cancellation of rent should therefore be universal and not make tenants jump through hoops to attain it, right? We don't have the big banks and the big corporations having to jump through so many hoops to get their hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars, but we don't think that tenants should have to go through bureaucratic hoops in order to get that there should just be a universal cancellation. If big landlords want to form their own lobby in order to lobby their representatives in government, they can do so. And you better believe they will. They will absolutely wield all of their money and their influence in Albany in order to oppose rent cancellation. But if rent cancellation is passed, then they would use all of their resources to pivot and still benefit. Maybe it's tax relief. Maybe it's a bailout from the government to cover their losses from lost income. But we're saying that that's not something that we're passing judgment on. If they want to do that, they will do it. They can do it. But we're just looking out for what would be the solution that would be the most complete for moderate and low-income New Yorkers in our district in East Harlem and across New York City.
Okay, thank you. Did that answer your question, Pastor Brown?
Yes, it confirms my stand on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm going to entertain one. Now I've got Marissa Mack and Andrew Padilla, and I'm going to move on from there and offer some recommendations. Thank you. So Andrew, then Marissa, please.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to, say what I think a lot of us, I think a lot of us are really concerned about all sides of this. We're very concerned about small landlords. I know some good small landlords in the neighborhood, but this right here is about making sure that people are not thrown out of their homes. And so our committee, our board is not precluded from doing what we can to help small landlords. But right now we're talking about making sure people are not kicked out of their homes right now, not thrown into eviction proceedings, for the next few months. And as someone who has done tenant organizing, I will say, once you start putting means testing on this, the burden that you are putting on folks, on an overburdened system, on overburdened attorneys, on tenants who are, tenants who are really losing their minds. You're talking about, is anyone not paying just for fun? You're going to find very few people who are not paying just for fun, or there'll be some maybe not paying out of political ideology, but the vast majority of people, if they don't have the money, they don't have the money. But the cost it takes, the time it takes to go through validating all that right now, we need to make sure people stay in their homes. I don't think we're taking seriously enough how drastic this moment is. And so we need to support small landlords, and there will be, relief that the Real Estate Board of New York is going to lobby for. But we need to stand up for our community members who are literally going to be thrown into the street.
Okay,
I think that's a great point, Andrew. And I just wanted to quickly piggyback on that just to say that I know it's late, I'm sorry, but I just want to say that that's exactly right. There's already 60,000 plus, approximately 65,000 in our homeless shelters in New York City. We have the highest proportion of homelessness of any city in the United States. We have the highest, and we have thousands more street homeless every night. We have the highest levels of homelessness since the Great Depression. We have the highest levels of unemployment since the Great Depression. Our community is suffering at twice the rate as white communities in New York City in terms of infection rates, death rates, and financial hardship from COVID-19. They tend to be essential workers as well. And so this is the sort of thing that I just want to piggyback. I think that's exactly right. I think we would see a crisis of mass proportions if we do not forgive rent and cancel rent right now. I think there will be a flood of non-payments in the housing court, and that there will be a lot of people subject to homelessness in an already overburdened system, which costs approximately $4,000 a month to house a homeless person, would be an even greater drain on the public fisc, a waste of money, and the wrong thing to do in terms of human rights.
Okay, thank you very much for that
Okay,
comment.
so
Hold on.
let me just jump.
Who's speaking?
This is Marissa. Can I? I haven't
no,
said
I was getting
anything wrong
ready
either.
Marissa, I was getting ready to recognize you, so just hold on.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah. Marissa, and then I will have one last comment from Melanie, and then we're going to move. Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I totally agree with this discussion. I do think that this needs to be extended, especially for people that are not able to pay. And there, as everyone has stated in the chat, the number in terms of unemployment is continuing to grow. And so I think for the people that need that, I think that we definitely extend that and make that an option. I do not agree with making it mandatory for everyone, because there are people that are able to pay, and where that is able to continue to go on, that helps the the neighborhood. Like, that helps the community. So I don't think it's just like a blanket, no, you know, let's just say that people can't pay and they don't have to pay. But I think for the people that are needed, yes, let's find a way to extend it. But I don't agree with just saying and looping everybody into, yes, you know, just waive rent and we'll figure it out later. That's not a wise economic stand for this community, which we already have so many needs, and it's not a wise stand for people that can pay and the landlords that need it. And everyone is not, you know, sitting on tons of money. I understand that the landlords will be a different discussion, but I don't think this is a blanket waive this for everyone, right? We don't want to make people jump through hoops. That's definitely not the right thing to do to get their rent waived. But the answer and the economic answer, I feel the right answer, even outside of the economic answer, is not to blanket this for everyone, because it's not the needs for this community, for some funds coming in, for the people that are able to pay, should continue. For those that need it, we should absolutely do everything that we can do to support those individuals and to back them in waiving this rent. They do not need the burden of figuring out how to support their families and put a roof over their head. Totally agree. But I'm not in agreement that this needs to be a blanket. I think this needs to be figured out for who needs it, not have them jump through hoops, but make it available.
Okay, thank you very much.
Makes sense.
Marissa, thank you very much. Thank you. And finally, Melanie Farah.
Farah, thank you.
Farah.
I'm just concerned about the pushback against, and maybe I've misheard, but against differentiation and demarcating a space for small landlords, or excuse me, our small business owners who happen to be landlords. So East Harlem has only 7.6% home ownership, and most of the time those homeowners only can afford their mortgage because of the rent. Now, I understand that there's a call for a moratorium on mortgages, but we do not have control over banks, which are generally governed by state and federal law. So making sure that there is a carve out and some delineation for those very few who we have left in this community, homeowners who may be renting, should not be a problem.
Thank you very much. Okay, are there any other questions, Angel? Not seeing.
Yes, Rakeem Brooks and Andrew Padilla.
Okay. All right, I've had, Rakeem hasn't spoken on this issue. Rakeem?
I'll be brief. I just wanted to make the point. I understand everyone's concerned about landlords large and small and kind of means testing, but I think we have lost sight of the context of New York City, where rents are already extraordinarily high. It's often the case that landlords make more than 50 to 75% profit in each individual unit. And so the likelihood that we're imposing some dramatic, draconian hardship on most landlords, even in East Harlem, is just slim. So I get the basic economic points of it, and I'm sympathetic to them, but I just want to put things in context. None of us think we're paying, I would think, none of us think that we're paying the right amount of rent based on our income in New York City. Almost everybody's paying 50% of their income to rent. And so I support the motion.
Okay, thank you very much. Andrew, do you have something to add to the comment, to this discussion under item 24? Because I'd like to move the agenda along, please.
Absolutely. I just wanted to quickly say that, again, I share the concern about small landlords. I know many in this district, but we are not putting small landlords in a predicament through this motion. I want to be very clear. Small landlords are in this predicament anyway, because if people cannot pay, they will not pay. We as a board are trying to make it easier for folks to remain in their homes, and means testing everyone during this pandemic, during a Great Depression, an economic crisis the likes of which we've never seen, and which most dominoes haven't dropped on yet. We are putting an incredible burden on tenants. So landlords unfortunately already feel this burden, and we need to act to push for a federal bailout for them. I mean, I would be in support of supporting small landlords in that way. But right now, we're talking about just taking the burden off of tenants who, have not been bailed out. We live in a country where a lot of folks got bailed out. A lot of companies got bailed out. A lot of millionaires and billionaires got bailed out. And small landlords are in a crunch. But again, if people can't pay, they won't. This is about taking the burden off of tenants. And this is the easiest, quickest way to do that. It doesn't preclude us from further action to support our small landlords.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew, and everyone in your comments. I've not been able to keep track of the chat. I'm really focused on sharing. There are a couple of things I want to recommend. First, I'm not going to bundle 24. We're going to do 17 through 20 if this is easier on all of us, and so we record it accurately. If you do choose to abstain or vote no on a particular item, when your name comes up, if you're voting on the bulk, just say yes, but I'm abstaining on, like, for example, 22 or whatever. That's what I'm going to ask you to do so that Denelyn can record it accurately. To a couple points that I would say is I'm very empathetic and I see both sides. When we lived abroad, we had to rent out our place, and this was right after the housing bubble burst. We probably had to put an additional 20% down on the rent we were getting. So we took everything at a loss. So I get that side. I also understand what it's like to be without a home and having to live out of a car. So I get that part as well. And there's something, and I think what I would recommend is that we do carve out a separate resolution. And I myself am willing to be involved, Diane, Melanie, Marissa, other people who have opined on this issue. We can call a meeting with housing and then have it brought when we have our executive committee meeting on July 6th, which it looks like we're going to have. It can be voted on as a separate resolution for small landlords, but we'll need everyone to come together to do the work. And that would be my recommendation rather than trying to go through editing on the fly right here with this particular resolution, which was passed during executive. That is my recommendation. Of course, you will be allowed to vote the way you choose to vote. But I think we have many partners here on this committee and this entire community board are willing to sit down and do the drafting and do the citations and do everything we need to. So that would be my recommendation. And in that, I'm going to bundle items 17 through 23, which were previously read in. Is there a motion to approve these that were passed by the executive committee? If you could scroll back to 17 and gradually go through them to 23. So, okay. All right, next. Finally, 23. Okay. Is there a motion to approve this bundle? Stephanie Arroyo, this is your chance.
Motion to approve.
I motion.
Okay, Stephanie Arroyo, motions. Do I have a second?
Second, Villanueva.
Very good. Roll call, Denelyn.
Sorry, I'm trying to take minutes at the same time.
Xavier, sorry, originally you said 17 through 20 was going to be a bundle. Are you doing 17 to what now?
No, 17 through 24 was the original bundle. We were going to group them all. I'm carving out 24. We're just doing 17 through 23. The instructions are, if you are yay on, say, all of them, except for one, you have to abstain. Just take your time when you are called if you have to. Otherwise, if you're yes, say yes. If you're no on all, that's it. Make it very simple. The motion was made by Stephanie Arroyo and seconded by Stephen Villanueva. And I'm going to have Denelyn call the roll. Please either say yay or explain if you're a particular number you're abstaining or voting no. Thank you.
Okay, Arciaga, yes for 17 through 23. Arroyo motioned. Biggs?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
I abstain.
Okay, Chan? Collier?
So for item 20, I am present, not voting. That is $1,000 to Uptown Grand Central. For the rest of it, yes.
Okay, thank you. I made note of that. Elliot?
Yes.
Encarnacion?
Yes.
Farah?
Yes.
Febraro.
Since I don't have it in front of me, I think I'm abstaining on the Uptown Grand Central, and the rest, yes.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I got it. Thank you, Judith.
Okay. All right.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes, across the board.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia.
Yes, but I think I have to abstain due to a conflict of interest for, I forgot which number it is, but the one that asks to cancel rent.
We're not on that item yet.
Oh,
Number
sorry.
24 is not, no.
24? Okay,
Not-
then yes.
Okay. Hume,
Yes.
Liriano,
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin,
She left, she had an emergency. There was a fire in her building.
oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
McCullough,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Padilla, Andrew,
Sorry, my computer froze. Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yeah.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva, Jason,
Yes to all present, not all voting, number 20.
okay, and then Villanueva, Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
So yes to all items except present not voting on item 20 and abstaining from item 23.
and then you're abstaining from 23.
Abstaining from 23, present not voting on 20, the rest are yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, everyone, just be patient with me. Okay, and then Wu.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Items 17 through 23
I have my
passed.
I have my hand raised. I'm sorry. I became a little
Yes.
confused about what we were voting on. And so I want to change my vote.
Okay, you had a question, concern with number 17 through 23?
No, I'm clear on what we're voting on. I thought 24 was included in there. And
Yes.
so my
Okay.
answer is yes. So thank you for your patience. I just got a little sidetracked there with what we were actually voting on.
No problem. We'll have the record reflected. Have you notated that, Denelyn?
Yeah, it's done already. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, London. All right,
Apologize.
sorry I missed your hand. No, it's fine. Okay, good. Moving on, the motion is carried there. We're gonna move on to number 24. Again, the recommendation is that we have this before us rather than editing on the floor. I think it would be essential for all of us to come together, either housing or eco-dev, but I really think housing should come together in support of this, and or maybe combine together with eco-dev and then send this forward to executive. It can then be later ratified in September when we meet a separate resolution. That's my recommendation. But we have heard a great discussion back and forth on the merits and perspectives, and I will now entertain, looking here, I will now entertain a motion.
Motion to
on
support by
24.
Jessica Elliott.
Okay, do I have Jessica Elliott? Do I have a second?
Second, Padilla.
All right, roll call, please.
Okay, Sorry, I'm just going back with two streets. Okay. Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Abstain.
Chan, Collier,
Abstain.
Elliott.
Yes.
Okay, and then Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah.
I need another minute.
Okay, I'll circle back to you.
Thank you.
Febraro,
Abstain.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia.
And this is number 24, yes?
Correct.
Abstain.
Hume,
Yes.
Liriano, Mac,
Yes.
Nalave,
Yes.
Martin.
She's no longer in the meeting.
Yep, sorry about that.
No problem.
Thank you.
Carry on.
McCullough,
Abstain.
Meyer,
Yes.
Padilla seconded, Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Blotman,
Yes.
Schuler,
Abstain.
Scott, I'm sorry, I missed you.
100% yes.
Okay, thank you. Villanueva Jason,
Abstain.
Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Ay, ay, ay. I want to say yes, but I want to say no. Abstain.
Whitaker.
Yes.
I'm abstaining.
Oh, I got you. Thank you, Candy. Wu.
Yes.
And then I'm just going to circle back to Melanie. Or
I'm
Farah.
here. I can hear you. I'm here. And did we have someone make a commitment to support the development of a specific resolution around smaller landlords? Xavier, did that take place or did that not take place?
We discussed that we need to have a separate committee meeting, either with your committee or housing or both, from the people who've opined to express interest and support of helping our small landlords. That can then be presented to presented to executive on the July 6th meeting, where it can be voted on up or down. So I'm willing to be at that meeting. I'm willing to meet after this meeting so we can draft something thoroughly that has been vetted in support of our small business landlords, to give some supportive mechanisms for them. So that's where it is. And that was the recommendation. So we're not trying to edit on the fly of an existing document. And I think that would make it, allow us the time to make a stronger document in the next, 11, 12 days. So that we have, or actually about, 13 days would be the 6th, I think. So that gives us enough time to schedule a meeting and then actually draft the document for a vote and then send to, so that's where it was. So we're voting on the document before us on the floor.
Thank you for your clarity, and I apologize for the delay. To the rest of the members of the board, I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Okay, I've noted that. And then, sorry, just one quick second. 32, 16, the motion still carries. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Moving on, we're nearly there. It's 9:55. We've been on since 6:35. I appreciate everyone's patience. We're near the very, very end. We have a new business item, and that is 1590 Lupita Restaurant Corp. doing business at Lupita's Restaurant. It's a renewal. Angel, I'm presuming this arrived after our executive committee meeting. I just saw Dem leave, so.
That's correct, and the applicant has not submitted any of the required paperwork.
So they have not met our threshold for approving.
Correct.
Okay. All right. If that is the information we have before us, then I will entertain a motion either to approve or not approve based on the fact that they have not provided everything that we require.
Motion to deny Judith.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second, John Green.
I'm gonna spread some love, Villanueva. Jason, I'm gonna give it to John Green on this one. So that was Judith and then John Green.
That was not Jason. That was Steven. Thank you.
That's Steven. It was very muddled, but thank you. But I'm still spreading the love. So call the roll, please.
Okay, Arciaga, yes to deny. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan, Collier,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes to deny.
Febraro motioned. Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Okay, and then Green seconded. Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
McCullough, McCullough. Okay, Meyer,
Yes.
Padilla, Andrew.
Hey, so sorry. My internet's going in and out. What's up?
Are you for denying the
Yes, I'm for
item
denying.
number 25? Okay,
Yes.
great. Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Schlotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Villanueva, Jason,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
and Wu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. That handles. All right, now we're going to move on to old business. We have number 26 is a vote to ratify executive committee action items adopted in March, April, and May of 2020. Your executive team, that's all the chairs of each committee and your elected leadership, have been just toeing the line, getting it done. We've been on very long meetings, but we've had a lot of productive work, and it's paid off. And if you've had an opportunity to actually read everything, this is a formality of ratification, meaning that the board is supporting the measures that were taken on its behalf by the executive committee. And I would ideally like to lump these into one bundle, one vote to ratify these minutes.
Motion.
So let me finish. Let me finish. So again, we all want to go to sleep. I feel you. So we're right at the near end. You know. So anyway, so final bit. If you, again, same protocols. So now I will entertain a motion to ratify.
Motion to ratify by Jason Villanueva.
Second, Villanueva.
Oh,
So I got the Villanuevas. Jason was first. Stephen was second.
Then that's automatic yay.
Okay, very good. Roll call, please.
Sí, dale. Okay, Arciaga, yes. Arroyo,
Yes.
Biggs,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Chan, Collier,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Encarnacion,
Yes.
Farah,
Yes.
Ferbraro,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Green,
Absolutely.
Harvey,
Yes.
Heredia,
Yes.
Hume,
Yes. Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Malave,
Yes.
Martin.
She not here. McCullough, yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. Excuse me, sorry. Meyer.
Yes.
Padilla, all these names are looking the same. I'm sorry. Padilla,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Santiago,
Yes.
Plotman,
Yes.
Scott,
Yeah.
Schuler,
Yes.
Vivas Vasquez, Candy,
Yes,
Whitaker.
yes. Can you hear me?
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wu, Jason. Okay, thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay. I have one hand from Melanie that just registered.
Yes, this would be a new business item. I just wanted to give a shout out to some of the work that's been done on cross-committee collaboration, and I think some of the disparate statements and the disagreements on the last resolution really could have been avoided with a quick email to the chair of related committees, just so we can have a greater understanding of how it could impact the economics of those who are trying to further develop our community. One of the great examples of cross-committee collaboration is in the partnership that the land use and further titles has with economic development, and how they've demonstrated how having representation and feedback from each committee can avoid some of these instances where it seems like we're not all on the same page when I really think we are. So just wanted to say that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melanie, and I appreciate your perspective. I think that at our next executive committee, we will definitely raise that. In the meantime, I hope to have everyone who was registering their comments and the back and forth in the chat. And again, I am just reviewing it. Please, let's all come together and actually do the good work like what has been done previously and during this meeting, and then we actually sit down and do the drafting. And that way we can bring it forth to support our community. And I think we are all on the same side. And I think this is a good opportunity for us to move that agenda forward. So thank you very much for registering that. And I look forward to us working that. I'm available to all of you. If we want to schedule another Zoom meeting, we just let the staff know and we'll get it scheduled. We can even make it a small working group and then just bring it before executive. But we can take that on an email to the chairs and to those involved. Thank you very much for that. If there are, that is the one comment I wanted to make right there. I don't see any other hand up. I will say I'll review some of these chats a little bit more in depth. One other thing.
I think
hold on.
Andrew has his hand.
Yeah, just hold on just a quick second because we've moved on to announcements right now. So again, make sure that from this dialogue that we all come together, and I want everyone we should schedule a meeting and have that happen. The second thing are minutes. There are minutes outstanding. Please get them across to the staff, and they're months long. There were some technical difficulties with ours. Some of the audio was corrupted, some were permissions, but please, if you have outstanding minutes, as you saw in the email, please get them over. And I'm gonna then say we have 2 hands raised as if for announcements. So I'll go to Andrew and then Jason.
Oh, I thought we were wrapping, so I just...
we are. We just have to do announcements, so.
Sure. Oh, no, I just wanted to say thank you to Denelyn, that's all. I think she's been amazing. This has been the hard job today, and she's been amazing, so that's all.
Woo!
She's done a great job.
Thank you so much.
Virtual clap.
I'm going to write that in the minutes, so thank you.
All right, then Jason, I take it you're taking your hand down.
I just got one announcement. I have joined the Covenant House International Board that focuses on homeless youth. So those of you talking about homelessness, housing, I'd love to have that conversation. Again, the last discussion was very challenging, but yeah, there definitely needs to be another side to those nonprofits out there that are doing the good work, that unfortunately have that landlord title, but the mortgage and the banks don't treat us that way.
Thank you very much, Jason. I have one announcement from Diane Collier.
So, Black Lives Matter is being painted on 7th Avenue between 125th and 127th. And Uptown Grand Central will be joining Harlem Park to Park and other organizations in doing that. And we are, of course, looking for volunteers who would like to join us to paint the yellow lettering of Black Lives Matter on both the north and south side. If you are interested, please reach out to Carrie. We will be doing this starting July 1st.
Reach out to who?
Carrie King.
Carrie King. Do you have a contact for her, Pastor?
I have it. Do you want me to put it in the chat?
Please do. I want to be there. I want to paint.
Awesome. Wonderful. Do we have any other announcements? Or Jason Wu, real quick.
How's the motion?
Pastor Scott wants to say more, but he's organizing a symposium. There's been a series of events thus far. There's one coming up on Thursday, June 25th at 5 p.m., which will be streamed on Facebook Live. I put the link in the chat, and there's a number of really great speakers, and I was also added as one of the panelists. So if you want to check it out, the information is in the chat.
Yeah, I totally apologize. I will send that in a formal email to everybody for tomorrow. It'll be Thursday evening. Thank you, Jason. I'm super tired, so I totally forgot. It's based on that.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much. This is great. Anyone who wants to volunteer, get the information across and we'll ping it out to participate. This is fantastic. All right. We are just over we're just at 3.5 hours. I will not call a roll. So a motion to adjourn.
Gosh.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
by Daniel and Arciaga.
Marissa.
Motion by Candy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, Marissa.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Aye, Benji.
Bye.
Stay
Take
safe,
care.
everyone.
Good night. I thank you, Xavier and Zenelin. Bye. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Roll call.
We got